reported the fire presumably is coming out of Douma, which is the last rebel-held territory in eastern Ghouta. The Syrian military also reported that the rebels are using human shields to prevent military advances. Eastern Ghouta has been a major focus of the Syrian military because of its proximity to Damascus, which has allowed them both to launch strikes against the capital and at times infiltrate districts with small numbers of fighters to cause chaos. Roughly 90% of Ghouta is now under military control. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Board of Supervisors of Orange County, the third largest county in California, voted unanimously to join a federal lawsuit against the state's sanctuary laws aimed at protecting undocumented immigrants. Orange County will now join a lawsuit filed by Attorney General Jeff Sessions that argues that California's SB 54, which restricts local law enforcement agencies from cooperating with Immigration and Customs Enforcement in matters related to undocumented immigrants, is unconstitutional. Supervisor Lisa Bartlett said her vote to join the federal lawsuit was to give the county more control over undocumented immigrants with criminal backgrounds. Bartlett said in a statement, Senate Bill 54 prohibits state and local police agencies from notifying federal officials before immigrants in their custody who may be subject to deportation are released. I took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, not the unconstitutional actions of the state of California. The 4-0 vote from the Republican-controlled Orange County Board of Supervisors follows actions by other Orange County leaders to resist SB 54. Earlier this month, the City Council of Los Alamitos voted to opt out of the law, and this week, Orange County Sheriff Sandra Hutchins decided to put the release dates of county jail inmates online to the public, which allows ICE officials to get that information without having to go directly through local law enforcement. The board's vote on Tuesday was heavily criticized by immigrant advocates. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports Supreme Court justices on Wednesday appeared conflicted over what to do, if anything, to rein in politicians who draw state electoral maps with the aim of entrenching their party in power in a closely watched case from Maryland over the practice known as partisan gerrymandering. The 9 justices heard an hour-long argument and a challenge by Republican voters to a U.S. House of Representatives district in Maryland that was reconfigured by Democratic state legislators in a way that helped Democrats defeat an incumbent Republican congressman. There appeared little dispute among the justices that the Maryland district lines were drawn in a partisan intent. But based on questions they asked, the justices seemed no closer to answering the major question in the case and a similar one involving Wisconsin, whether courts should be able to intervene to curb the manipulation of electoral district boundaries purely to favor one party over another. On October 3rd, the court, which has a 5-4 conservative majority, seemed similarly torn when it heard challenges by Democratic voters to Republican-drawn legislative districts statewide in Wisconsin and has not yet issued a ruling in that case. The rulings in the 2 cases, due by the end of June, could alter the U.S. political landscape either by imposing limits on partisan gerrymandering or by allowing it even in the most extreme forms. Opponents have said partisan gerrymandering has begun to warp America's democracy by muffling large segments of the electorate. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
This week, badly shaken researchers reported observing an osprey stalking, killing, and devouring an adult male lion in what is being called a massive food chain shakeup. Confirmation of the 3-pound marine bird consuming the 400-pound feline has biologists scrambling to determine the new predator-prey connections between the planet's billions of organisms.
We seem to be experiencing some sort of cross-species dietary free-for-all.
Scientists say that the killing of the healthy, full-grown lion by a typical osprey specimen has lent credibility to recent reports of a deer seen grazing on a nest of squirrels in Wisconsin, as well as a claim made by a group of Japanese fishermen who say they witnessed 300 million krill devouring a 40-ton humpback whale. In other news, NASA acquires the moon for an upcoming Kennedy Space Center exhibit. A radio DJ invites the whole town to some bullshit And assuming the many universes theory of quantum mechanics is accurate, the review you've just seen will remain relevant in another reality for all eternity. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We'll give you the toll-free call-in lines here momentarily where you can join us. The us in studio tonight is not Heather, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And Mark.
And we're doing some rotating here. So Mark is Heather, or no, Chris is Heather.
What?
Mark is Chris, and Heather will be Mark on Saturday or something?
No, I invited Heather to Heather wanted to trade days.
Right.
And I said, look, I'll come in for you. If you want to come in on Saturday, I'm not giving you my seat on Saturday.
Right.
But if you want to come in on Saturday, you may speak with Ian about it.
Okay.
If he gave her if she gave him the impression that that I wouldn't be coming in, then that's mistaken.
Yeah, I don't know. She had sent me a message earlier asking if there was a way to swap days with somebody, and I said, I don't know about swapping, but if you can't come in, I'll see you next week. And then Mark showed up, and I was like, oh, what are you doing here? And
she
said,
pinged me on the telegrams.
Yeah, and I had already heard from Heather that she wasn't going to make it in and that Mark would be covering. So evidently, Darryl, as the host of tonight's show, you're
I'm
the
always
only one.
Out of the loop.
Exactly.
Yeah, until Mark shows up, and I just thought he was bored.
Right.
It's always a possibility.
Yes.
Yeah,
so speaking of always possibilities, you found something interesting about libertarians.
Indeed, from Bloomberg.
All right.
The title of this is "Think You're Smart About Politics? You Might Be a Libertarian."
Nice.
A study of voters' tendencies towards emotional or analytical decisions confirms some stereotypes. So, you might think being analytical is a good thing. We associate analysis with people who are smart, well-informed, and relatively dispassionate in their assessments. You might think that politics is an area where being analytical is especially useful. If you do, well, I've got news for you. Libertarians measure as being the most analytical political group. That's according to something called the Cognitive Reflection Test, which is designed to measure whether an individual will override his or her immediate emotional responses and give the question further consideration. So if you aren't a libertarian, maybe you ought to give that philosophy another look. It is a relatively exclusive club, replete with people who are politically engaged, able to handle abstract arguments, and capable of deeper reflection.
Well, that's kind of interesting, and I've got to say that one of the things that got me the libertarian thoughts, the philosophy of it was the first attraction. But this is one of those things about moving to New Hampshire or getting involved more with other libertarians is you become drawn in, I think, to the capacity for intellectual thought. And, I've never had a conversation, even on things that we just agree about, where it was always just, yep, you're right. Yep, you're right.
Yep.
There's always somebody who's going to throw some twist into this. So I found this a pretty cool article.
Yeah, so recently, this week, somebody said something to the effect of me, just because your philosophy's consistent doesn't make it good, which I thought was an interesting thing to say, and I can't disagree with that.
I can't either.
But the libertarian philosophy is very consistent.
I can, and I will disagree with that.
Okay.
The Republican philosophy of we must always disagree with Democrats.
Right, that's really all there is to that philosophy.
There is a philosophy. It's a consistent philosophy.
Oh, come on. That's, I mean...
It's not a good philosophy.
That's not a philosophy. That's a reaction.
Right, but we're arguing whether it's accurate or not. And I think the statement that just because you're consistent does not make you good, that's absolutely correct. The Nazis were very consistent.
Correct.
Yes.
Authoritarians.
Communists, yes. Authoritarians, communism, socialists.
The state will solve this problem.
Exactly.
The people who consistently say that you owe somebody else money because you exist in a given landmass, they're consistent on their belief that you owe somebody else money because you exist on a given landmass.
Well, slavery, bondage, serfdom, whatever you want to call these things, has existed since probably certainly the agrarian revolution, if not well before that. I suspect as long as there have been people, one of them has been trying to dominate the other. Libertarianism says you needn't put up with the domination if you can provide for yourself. Now,
we reject the divine right of kings and the divine right of elected politicians.
Well, I reject the notion that one spouse can control the movements and thoughts of another spouse. I reject totalitarianism on all levels. I would say, however, libertarianism, as it exists, is dependent on a particular understanding, a pretty widely accepted understanding of what property is.
Sure.
That statism relies on a different definition of property that basically it obscures. So, for instance, the government says you own a piece of land, but
as long as you give them money,
you have to pay a a property tax on that land. Quit rents is what they called property taxes before they called them property taxes.
Right.
So you have to pay a quit rent on the land, and rent is more accurate. You pay an annual or biannual or quarterly rent to live on your property.
You pay fealty.
Okay. Fealty? What's the difference between rent and fealty in this circumstance?
I don't think it's fealty.
I'm just using the serfdom terminology.
Well,
because
serfdom,
that's
they
really
actually
what
called
it
quit rents. Right. That's what they called it. You paid it probably in wheat or produce of the land.
Fealty is what you pledge.
You pledge your fealty, yes.
You pledge your fealty.
Yeah.
So, anyway, the government says you own something and then acts like you don't. Libertarians say you own something and we should act like you do.
Right.
That's all the sort of the differences. When it comes to income tax, we say you should be able to keep the fruits of your labor, and that anybody who inserts themselves within you and a person you've contracted with is acting as a authoritarian. They're acting as a master in a master-servant relationship. Who could possibly come in and dictate the terms of a contract? Only the Lord could possibly do that, and the Lord being the Lord of the land.
Correct.
I suppose Jesus could do it if he wanted to. He just hasn't done it for me, ever.
And I think the step in property rights that just goes that one more that libertarians espouse is that it's self-ownership. It's that I own my own body. And when we look at, there are sort of these externalized violations of our natural rights, but then there's the ones that I think strike closest to home, and that's when the government comes in and says, no, you can ask permissions about what you can do with your own body. But I think that's an important distinction that I don't hear in other philosophies.
Right, and
that even idea of self-ownership.
Even within libertarianism, there's a lot of minutia over what does it mean to be the owner of your own body, because if you own a car, you can sell that car to someone.
Yep.
There are some libertarians that say that you have a right to basically sell yourself into servitude, but then they say that you give up ownership of your person if you do sell yourself into servitude, but you can't really do that because there's always ways to get out of servitude.
This is the problem with having libertarian meetings at Bennigan's where they serve beer, right?
Right.
All you do to solve this problem when you're having this discussion with libertarians is say you have inalienable self-ownership.
Correct.
Of your body. At which point then they're like, let me quaff a little more fermented wheat beverage, and I will come up with another argument against what you're talking about because I really got into this because I love to argue. And it's true.
And, there are a lot of libertarians, and I'm using air quotes there, that they are just contrarians and they like to argue with everybody.
But I don't think there's... Okay, so people who like to argue usually are pretty intelligent. I'm not talking about yelling, arguing. I'm talking about people who like to make reasoned, claims. And yes, they may be running up against more intelligent people or more consistent people or people who've handled this argument in the past or whatever. But there's nothing wrong with that. You probably should leave libertarianism alone if you don't want to have your understanding of things flexed, stretched, challenged, any of these things.
And we don't necessarily like to argue here, but we do like discussion.
Like hell we don't!
We do too,
Your
Daryl.
Shut up, Darryl!
Don't tell me what to
Welcome,
do.
855-450-FREE. I'm telling you to call in, 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Get ready for Easter right now at Kohl's and take an extra 20% off with promo code EASTER. With an extra 20% off, girls' Carter's dresses are just $17.60. Van Heusen dress shirts are $27.99. Elsie Lauren Conrad dresses are also just $27.99. And Samsonite carry-on luggage is $103.99. Plus, you'll get Kohl's Cash right now at Kohl's. Select styles. Offers valid March 29th through 31st. Some exclusions apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
I'm Ryan Burke. I'm the head cider maker at Angry Orchard, and we're in Brittany, France. I wanted to make Angry Orchard rosé cider out of my love for rosé wine. We came here and found these red-fleshed apples. It's a really rare fruit. The apple brings a right, refreshing, natural taste to the cider and a deep, nice pink rosé hue. Our rosé is a little bit less sweet. It's got a really nice balance for any occasion. It's a really refreshing drink.
Angry Orchard Cider Company, Walden, New York. Drink responsibly.
You've heard of Bitcoin Cash, but did you know there's now a Bitcoin Cash wallet? The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. The Bitcoin.com wallet supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com. Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to SaveItPurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. SaveItPurse.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We're talking about libertarians who tend to be more informed about politics, but also sometimes like to argue. Something else that libertarians like to do is complain that somebody else isn't doing something. Well, the people over at liberty.menu, they wound up actually going into action on something that libertarians have wanted for years. We're talking about a directory of liberty-minded businesses. And we, here at Free Talk Live, we're helping build it. Liberty.menu. It's a tool for our community. At its core is a directory for events, businesses, digital content, and more. Listings can be rated and reviewed, kind of like Yelp. But there's also a bit of a social networking aspect where you can actually connect and share with other users. Use of Liberty.menu is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and those who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. Put your voluntarist ideas into action at Liberty.menu. Use code FTL to get a special badge just for Free Talk Live listeners. That's Liberty.menu. So let's go to the phones, actually, in this case, to the Skype, where we've got Ricky calling in. Ricky, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Thank you there, Brother Darryl, Brother Chris, Brother Mark. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hey, what's on your mind?
Ricky.
Well, I've been looking at this here. A lot of crazy stuff going on in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like candidate filing in Pennsylvania. That just closed up recently. Did you actually wind up filing for state rep there, Ricky?
No, I wanted to tell you what happened with that, Darryl. Brother Chris, well, I'll tell you, Brother Chris hit it on the head there about what Ricky from the Commonwealth, deputy of the Commonwealth, is when he started mentioning about that, what is that, the M word?
Mama Jamma?
I'm not tracking.
What's the M word?
Militia.
Mentally ill?
Okay.
Now, here's what happened. Now, when we had that first snowstorm a couple weeks back, by the way, number 6 was
Ricky,
on its way.
people are listening all across the world. They don't know about your snowstorm. If it's important.
Pennsylvania had 5 nor'easters in a row.
Okay. So you had a lot of snow. Okay.
All right.
Next.
Right. That was not good.
Okay.
Now, when that first one came, I went out with my package, you see, and I went down to the supermarket.
What package do we refer to?
Don't ask.
Probably packet of petitions, because all candidates in Pennsylvania have to collect petitions, even Republicans and Democrats.
Okay.
That's right. Well, and I ran into something unfortunate. See, I had a problem with an individual last fall, and it's a chain supermarket. Well, I ran into the same person. They're running on generators and all of that, and he was brought in to help. He took over that store. He came in there calling himself the supervisor and knocked 2 managers down to cashier.
That's
tragic. Yeah, that's bad.
All right, so he demoted some supervisors to cashiers, and that prevented you from collecting petitions?
Hold on.
I'm just trying to figure out how somebody becoming a cashier prevented you from filing for office.
Okay, go ahead.
So here's why I ended up dropping out of the race, because we got a problem. Because we got a bad cop here in Pennsylvania. I'm not going to say exactly where, but there's a bad one. And unfortunately,
there's more than one.
Okay, end of story. Now, this is very legit. I got to take care of this problem. That's why I dropped out of the race, because I have one Commonwealth issue compared to another. I have my agenda in the State House, but then I also got my agendas in the Commonwealth.
So this has to do with taking down a bad cop.
Correct. Not the first time I encountered such a thing, but I'll tell you, this is something I don't like doing.
Don't blame you. You can get shot doing that kind of thing, Ricky.
That's right. That's something I already took care of.
You already got shot?
He is now bulletproof.
Just in case this one's aggressive, this one operates like a statey. See, here's how this works. You can have a Commonwealth cop become a statey, but a statey can't become a Commonwealth cop. This one...
What's the difference between...
Huh?
What's the difference between a Commonwealth cop and a statey?
Well, number one, who they swear to. That's important. You got the state, or in this case, the Fed, too. You get one, you get the other, or to the Commonwealth.
Okay.
So it was to the Commonwealth, not to the state. Now, even more than that,
so are you saying there's somehow a difference between the state of Pennsylvania and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania?
He's been saying that for half a decade, Darryl.
Come on, Darryl.
No, he's been saying that the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania is different from a state like the state of New Hampshire, but now he sounds like he's saying that there's a distinct entity called the state of Pennsylvania and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and I'm just trying to figure out what the hell he's talking about.
I can give an example of that. I can give it to you very concise. Back in May of 2016, a man in Allegheny County. Now, he was in court testifying.
That's Pittsburgh for people that aren't familiar with Pennsylvania. All right, continue.
All right. Now, he was testifying in court. This is May of 16. And he was testifying in one of the lower courts about something, and he mentioned about having a handgun. Well, this Commonwealth Court judge decided to get very creative with Section 21. And based on the fact that he had a felony larceny charge 20 years before, he said, oh, this man here. Well, here's what this guy did. He kept his status as a Pennsylvanian, okay? And he appealed. He went right to the Supreme Court. Now, the nice thing about the Supreme Court is they can practice not only federal, state, but Commonwealth law. Now, they practice Commonwealth law. Now, we got a lot of press. Now, they said, okay, this man here. Now, here's the thing. We don't recommend you go like to an FFL, and all that. You got the ATF and things. But
I don't know what an FFL is.
Federal Firearms Licensee.
Okay.
Yep.
You cannot stop this person from carrying a gun, carrying a loaded gun, or possessing ammo because this man has rights.
Okay.
Plain and simple. That's what separates Pennsylvania from other places. Now, that just took a while for people to sink in.
Hold on just a second. I need to be clear on this, Ricky. Yeah. The Supreme Court of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania ruled
the Supreme Court, period. The Supreme.
Well, which one?
United States Supreme Court?
Correct.
The United States Supreme Court ruled that a person, a convicted felon, could carry a firearm and that his rights could not be infringed. Is that what you're claiming?
What I'm saying is the Supreme Court said that you cannot stop him from carrying a weapon, including a loaded one, but...
Yeah.
There's such a thing as felon in possession of a firearm that is in itself a felony.
Could you do me a favor and when you get off here, somehow send us some kind of citation for this claim?
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, that was big press.
Oh.
I mean, you can pull that right off the internet.
You won't
Can
send
you tell
a
me his name? Can you give me some fact?
Yeah, actually, his name and everything's in the article. I remember it from 2016.
What is the man's name, Ricky?
Can't remember offhand. I'll send it to you, Darryl. I'll work on that.
Please do.
That's fine. Great. Thank you. Please
Absolutely.
continue.
All right. Continue. He's done.
Oh, there's
He
more.
didn't file.
You
I'm
didn't
just
file.
concerned.
You're going after a
Concerned
bad cop.
And I'm sorry I dropped out of the race. I'm going to actually run next midterm because being deputy of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania sounds interesting. But
what party are you going to run under?
Huh?
What party are you going to run under?
I'm going to run under the same as I was before, Democrat.
Doesn't mean anything to me. Okay, Democrat. All right.
But he also
Democrat.
said he was going to run as an actual anti-federalist, which led me to believe that he might gather a lot more petitions to be listed as anti-federalist.
You can be a Democrat and an anti-federalist at the same time.
Democrat and Republican.
The call. Yeah, Pennsylvania does have some weird kind of fusion thing to where he could be on the ballot multiple times, but he'd still have to gather petitions to be listed as anti-federalist.
But we got to get on that right now. I don't want to miss this.
That's a good idea, Chris. You should do that. I've got better things to do. Your calls and thoughts, 855-450-FREE.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size for incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency. Get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people like passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
Are you about to meet the media? If you're about to be interviewed, do their homework for them. Know this about the person who will interview you. He or she is busy, so expect minimal, if any, preparation. He or she doesn't know as much about your topic as you do. He or she isn't as concerned as you are about getting your message out, so you need to take responsibility. Provide a biography and fact sheet, photographs, or other materials that tell your story. Reporters won't be put off if you supply frequently asked questions. Remember, Public Speaking 101, at the end of the speech, what's the one thing you want them to remember? You can download the document I supply to reporters who interview me and squirm through a video that demonstrates how not to conduct your media interview at www.survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And Mark. The FDA is taking 5 to 10 years off of your life and is responsible for the deaths of untold millions of people since its creation. Find out about why the FDA should be abolished from libertarian author and longtime medical researcher Dr. Mary Ruwart in her new book, Death by Regulation. The book's on pre-order, and we want to make a big splash on April 10th when it's released. Dr. Ruwart is offering $60 in bonuses for this $27 book. More pre-orders means a higher ranking on the Amazon charts. A higher ranking means more people will be exposed to the book, and we'll get this important message and hear the Liberty message from, frankly, one of the greatest practitioners of it. You can go to deathbyregulation.us to pre-order your copy today. It's deathbyregulation.us.
Now, we had been, before Ricky called in I really don't even know what he called in to talk about.
It's time to check in.
Yeah, basically, he was calling for his mental health checkup. We were talking about libertarians being more informed about politics and more intuitive than the average person.
Analytical, I think, is the word they're using here. I'm not sure intuitive is in this article, but I understand why you might have.
Right. I think the reason I used intuitive is I've seen things that said that libertarians tend to, if you buy into the Myers-Briggs personality thing, they tend to be INFPs and ENFPs, and the N stands for intuition.
I thought they were INTJs and ENTJs.
I've seen a lot of INFPs and ENFPs as well, but they've got the N's.
Yes. I am an ESTP. And I am
STP. That's the motor oil.
That's how I remember it.
Stone Temple Pilots. Come on.
That's right. So there you go.
No,
sensing
the greatest race car driver ever drove the STP number 43, sir.
That's great. I don't remember what I am.
The king.
I just never put.
You're not talking about Big Daddy Don Garlitz,
right?
No, I'm talking about the king.
Then you ain't talking about. Then you're talking about Big Daddy Don Garlitz.
Richard Petty, sir.
Big Daddy Don Garlitz.
I feel like
you're just making that name up.
No.
No,
it's like Jim and Marvin Luter, who is my professional wrestling tag team partner.
He was a hot rod racer. He rode whatchamacallits?
Big
Funny
Daddy
cars?
NHRA,
but it was like what are the cars that are long and skinny and
funny cars?
Maybe
Donald Glenn Don Garlitz is an American race car driver and automotive engineer. He is considered the father of drag racing. He's known as Big Daddy to drag racing fans around the world.
Okay, he's the father or grandfather of drag racing. He is not the greatest race car driver ever. That would be the king, Richard Petty.
Sorry, you're just wrong.
See, this is where we're doing the libertarians like to argue thing. So let's get back into the article here about libertarians have a consistent philosophy, and the author says that doesn't necessarily make it right.
Yep. So what else can we learn from this new study of political and analytical tendencies conducted by these folks from Yale University? For the 2016 election, one group that measured as especially non-analytical was the Democrats, who crossed party lines and voted for Donald Trump.
Why?
Why are they non-analytical, or why did they cross party lines and vote for Donald Trump?
Right. Why did they vote for Donald Trump?
Well,
there's a stereotype of a less well-educated voter, perhaps both white and male, who reacts negatively and emotionally to Hillary Clinton. I do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I guess I would be considered well educated. Not particularly well educated. I didn't even finish college. Right.
All right.
And people would call me white, and I certainly hope they call me male. So there you go. Let's say they would vote for Trump. Nope, I didn't. Even if Trump's actual policies will not prove in his best interest, I guess that's me, the voter. For all the dangers of stereotyping, the study's data are consistent with that picture.
And there you go. So, I mean, in this case, the stereotype matches what people just naturally perceive to be the case. That's not the case always with libertarians.
Right.
So I guess Bloomberg doesn't think that I guess they're in fear of their lives and don't want to find out what happens if they cross Hillary Clinton. Both non-voters and independents do poorly on the analytical dimension. There's a myth of responsible, rational, politically independent America sitting in the middle of the spectrum, weighing arguments carefully and seeing which candidate or party has the better ideas and platform. In reality, that group measures as relatively impulsive and prone to less informed judgments. So, to be clear, America, I want to make this abundantly clear. Here's my statement. There's 40% of Americans that vote Republican no matter what. There's 40% that vote Democrat no matter what. The 20% in the middle is the one that makes the decision. Almost every election you're going to find that is partisan, sort of on any level above local.
I'm curious where you're getting your 40% numbers.
I'm just back of the napkin kind of numbers.
Right.
But from a U.S. a state level election, generally those are the numbers that are going to come out. Obviously, some states are different, but when you start aggregating it out, about 40% of people in America Republican, about 40% Democrat is what they're going to vote. I'm not saying they're registered.
Okay, yeah, because the voter registration.
I said they were going to vote it no matter what.
Or lower, and I know that there are a lot of undeclared or independent or no party affiliation, whatever the term is, where you live.
Right. But for Mark's point, he can just throw out some numbers. I need my yellow card.
Yes. So 40-40, that leaves 20% in the middle. I'll give you 33-33, that leaves 33% in the middle. I don't particularly care what the margin is. It's just that margin in the middle is lauded as this intelligent arbiter of who gets to have the highest office in the world.
Right.
And in fact, they are a bunch of mouth-breathing dullards.
I don't know if I feel insulted for the only mouth-breathing dullard I know. But I think your point's well taken. And the point of this article is that 20% or 33% or whatever the percentage happens to be is just as likely to be swayed by emotional arguments that occur during an election cycle as any other group.
No, in reality, that group measures as relatively impulsive and prone to less informed judgments. So no, Chris, they're worse.
Measures as relatively impulsive and prone to less informed judgment.
Yep, so relative to the judgments.
So you could say that Republicans and Democrats just show no judgment by voting all the way. These would be more...
Gotcha.
Right.
I suppose.
More willing to actually wind up looking at the candidate and saying, oh, well, this guy's really bad and this one is way worse, so I'm going to vote for the one that's just not as bad.
They give it considerable consideration before they vote the wrong way.
Well, I can tell you this. I know a young lady, or at the time I knew her, a young lady who voted for George W. Bush because she felt he was the most attractive candidate physically.
Sure.
And then she voted for Barack Obama because she felt he was the most physically attractive candidate.
Who can argue with that?
So she would be in the middle, and she is prone to making a less informed judgment. Is that correct? Yes.
Informed on the
I'm presuming
issues.
This is a political poll. Mm-hmm. So, yes, she is less informed on the issues. She's informed about what she is physically attracted to, but she is not informed on the issues.
Correct.
And, that person offsets my vote whenever I vote differently than her. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. This is why I hate democracy, is because you could have Albert Einstein
I never
out
said
there.
democracy was a good idea.
But I didn't claim that you did, Darryl. I'm looking at you because you're running the clock and those kinds of things. I'm not addressing you, okay? I'm talking to people on the radio. That's why I got a microphone in front of my face. This is why I hate democracy. Democracy is full of people. I mean, by its definition, half of them are below average in this field, and those below average people offset the above average people. True. Albert Einstein's offset by some guy who can't take care of himself and has been driven to the polls from the crazy house and given a pencil and told to vote.
Well, we don't know if Albert Einstein voted in Chicago last election. It's possible. Your calls and thoughts, 855-450-FREE.
Get ready for Easter right now at Kohl's and take an extra 20% off with promo code EASTER. With an extra 20% off, Girls Carter's dresses are just $17.60. Van Heusen dress shirts are $27.99. Elsie Lauren Conrad dresses are also just $27.99. And Samsonite carry-on luggage is $103.99. Plus, you'll get Kohl's Cash right now at Kohl's. Select styles. Offers valid March 29th through 31st. Some exclusions apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees, ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
Free Talk Live.
For me, it's fighting negativity, and the negativity is my thoughts in my head that are negative. And I had to learn to recognize when my thoughts were being negative, because most of my life. Most of my thoughts were negative. So I had to become aware of when they were happening. And when I become aware of these negative thoughts pervading my thinking, I immediately fight them with positive thoughts. And most of the positive thoughts that I feed myself are positive affirmations about who I am, where I'm going, where I've come from.
Whenever I find myself thinking negatively, I don't consider it fighting the negative thoughts. I just consider it changing my train of thought. I just kind of change tracks to a positive thought and just focus on that.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We'll go to the phones here in just a second, but I want to make sure that I tell you about an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, and value can be securely stored and transmitted. Talking about Zencash. They have well over 7,500 secure nodes, which makes Zencash one of the most distributed, secure node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into their white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. Let's go to the phones where we've got Scott calling in from Wisconsin. Scott, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey there, Mark, Darryl, and Ian. How you doing tonight?
It's Chris.
Great.
Oh, Chris? Oh,
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
We have Ian bound and gagged in the broom closet.
Where he should be.
No, we don't. We don't even have a broom closet.
I wanted to tell Darryl, Big Daddy Garlis drove a rail job. Those are called rail jobs. The long ones, the rail jobs.
Okay,
hey,
nice.
I wanted to tell you a story about me about 3 weeks ago, and if you would listen, and then I'll see if you comment. My wife is from the Philippines.
Okay.
I've been over there 3 times.
Okay.
And she was going to go to the Philippines, so I took her down to Chicago O'Hare Airport, dropped her off. It was a late night flight, probably about 9 o'clock. She had to be there. Well, meantime, I dropped some of my kids, because I got 4 kids. I dropped 3 of them off at my grandpa's, where I used to live in Clinton, Wisconsin. And so I went down there, dropped her off, and came back up, and I was going through my town. And when I got behind the bowling alley, where I've turned millions of times there when I lived there, I put my turn signal on and stopped, and then I took off quick. Well, there was a Clinton cop coming in to town pretty fast when I was making my right turn.
Okay.
And he must have had eyes behind his head, because he pulled around and turned his lights on, and it was dark there, and he come up behind me and pulled me over. And my son was sitting in the passenger seat. So he came up, and I rolled my window down. He said, "Sir, how you doing?" He says, "You missed that stop sign back there." And I told him, well, sir, I turned my turn signal on and, I made my stop. So he asked me for my license. So when he took my license, he went back to his car, and we sat there for a half hour before he came back to the car. And I'll share this with you. I prayed, and I got a clean record, but I told my son, something's up.
Mm-hmm.
So when he came back up, he goes, Scott, your eyes, there's something wrong with your eyes. And I thought to myself, well, sir, I don't drink. I hate alcohol. My mom was killed in 2006. And he said, well, you're going to have to step out of the car, and I'm going to give you eye test. And I couldn't believe it.
Hold on. So they've got doctors administering eye test?
No,
yeah,
it's a
listen to
police
this.
officer.
So I'm sober, okay? And all right, so he takes me back there, and he starts blow in my face. So I blew in his face, and you can tell if somebody's usually drinking if you do that,
Sure.
So then he gives me the eye test, and I passed it like an eagle eye. And I got talking to him. I said, you know what, bud, I don't drink. I told him 10 times, and he still insisted to give me I'll go through all that.
Right.
So then after that, he tells me to get in the car. And
Your
then
car?
he gives me a breathalyzer out the window.
Okay.
And of course I passed the breathalyzer and that.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, that was kind of scary because, he could have arrested me for nothing.
Right. What night of the week was this?
This was Sunday night around 11 o'clock when I was pulling into town.
Sounds like a seriously bored
of course,
cop.
my son was just shocked because, he couldn't even believe what they were doing. And so I was pretty well shaken up about that, which anybody would. I mean, to be pulled over and you warn them over and again that you don't drink and you don't like alcohol. And I just don't know what he was seeing.
He was seeing the potential for an arrest, and if you're out driving late at night, they will make up anything to get an excuse to pull you over, and then it becomes a fishing expedition. If this guy pulled over 10 or 20 cars that night, for whatever reason, it didn't look like you used your turn signal, you didn't come to a complete stop, at one of those, he's going to get something, potentially, he feels he's going to get something that makes his boring shift worthwhile. And it could be a DUI, it could be anything else. And the whole time when he's administering a breath exam to you through your window, he's also smelling inside your car so he can possibly say, I detected the aroma of marijuana.
And looking in the car to see if there's anything that looks suspicious.
Right. Anything that would cause that. So you're right to be scared. You're right to be afraid. And my only critique in this is you rolled your window down more than half an inch and you kept talking to him.
So what wound up happening, Scott? Did he give you a ticket for something?
Well, here's the thing, and you're right. What he did, he was trying to get me for drunk driving. And he used that stop sign to cover it up. And then on top of it, he gives me a ticket for the stop sign.
He gave you a ticket.
Yeah, he gave me a ticket. And he told me when I was back there, I told him, look at my track record. It speaks for itself. You can see my driving record was superb for the last 10 years. And he goes, yeah, I know, but his excuse was his computer was down. He told me his computer was down in his squad car.
So are you going to wind up taking the citation to court?
Well, I was going to take it to court, but I talked to my insurance guy, and he said, Scott, listen, you got 4 kids. If you go fight it, you might get attorney. They're going to take your money. And I was going to, but with my 4 kids and all that, I decided, I'll pay it up and just keep driving down the road safe and that. But
chances are, if you tell them you want to take it to court, the cop probably isn't going to show up on the day that he actually has the trial, and then you get it dismissed because there's no witness against you.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what my dad was telling me, but the thing is that you got to watch out for that stuff because he was clearly trying to get me for drunk driving. But I gave him the old stern burn, baby. I went through it, and he did say thank you, Scott, for being. But I think he was trying to irritate me.
He doesn't mean that. He doesn't mean that at all. What he's glad for is he got to at least write a ticket out of it.
Yeah.
Well, he had to write the ticket to save face. I mean, he held that license for so long, and he bothered a upstanding citizen and father about whether or not he's drunk and all that other stuff. It's wasted a good citizen's time that pays his paycheck, and he had to make himself look like he'd done something.
Right.
I would encourage you to fight it, but I understand why you wouldn't. It's often a big waste of time, and they make it very difficult to win. Because they're just going to believe the word of the cop.
Right, Scott. Thank you for the call. Let's go to Skype where we've got Neil calling in. Neil, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing well. What's on your mind?
I am so upset with what's going on in our country right now. I was on 5 different major networks' Facebook pages today while the president was giving his speech.
Mm-hmm.
And there was, you could tell that they were the March for Your Lives kids on there because they all had recently made profiles, no pictures, really nothing about them on there. They were just trolling the page. And I put on there what I felt about it, and then I posted on there my name, and I know I can't say my full name on here, and I said, my name is so-and-so and so, and I approved this message, and I posted my phone number, my real phone number, and not one of those chicken little SOBs has called me yet.
Why would you want them to call you?
They're not going to because my phone won't accept phone calls from blocked numbers.
But how do you know that? How do you know they haven't called then?
Well, because they would have to unblock their number, and then I would know who they were.
Right, but if they've got a blocked number, Neil, thank you for the call. If they've got a blocked number and they try to call you, you don't know that they tried to call you.
And then they would probably think that they couldn't call because, it would tell them you can't call or what this isn't available to you or whatever. And then they yeah.
But we will take your calls. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Your thoughts on whatever is on your mind. This is Free Talk Live.
I tried other brands, but I came back to my Sunshine.
For the best hot or cold pain relief, get the best. Get a Sunny Bay heating pad.
Sometimes life can be a pain in the neck or back or shoulder.
And the best relief for that pain is a Sunny Bay heating pad. Did you know that the American College of Physicians said that one of the best ways to treat muscle pain is heat therapy? Sunny Bay heating pads are handmade with high quality, can be used at home or at work, and have a lifetime 100% positive rating on both Amazon and Etsy.
Why take another pill?
Many people use our Sunny Bay heating pads alone and got rid of the neck pain.
Long distance travel or long hours in front of a computer can take its toll on your body.
See why our homegrown small business at sunny-bay.com has tried to help people just like you. Get your Sunny Bay heating pads at sunny-bay.com. That's sunny-bay.com or call 253-678-1361 for hot and cold therapy. sunny-bay.com.
In Survivor Max 2, School Bites, Max must scavenge through a wasteland swarming with the undead. Desperate to find the medicine he needs, he discovers a community of survivors at his former school. Has he finally found the safe haven he's been looking for, or will he discover that school bites? Look for Survivor Max on Facebook, read reviews on Amazon, and read Chapter 1 at survivormax.com.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are 1. Share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2. Buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3. Give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love. But make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, March 29th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.29 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,326 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $17, and the average price of Bitcoin is $7,491. Antiwar.com reports on Tuesday rebels from eastern Ghouta fired mortars into the Syrian capital city of Damascus, killing at least 27 civilians and wounding nearly 60 others. The strike was reported in a single-sentence article in Reuters, quoting a Russian news agency. More details were offered in Iran state-run Press TV, however. They reported indiscriminate mortar and rocket fire against the capital, hitting multiple different sites across the area and causing a number of casualties. Though it was not reported, the fire presumably is coming out of Douma, which is the last rebel-held territory in eastern Ghouta. The Syrian military also reported that the rebels are using human shields to prevent military advances. Eastern Ghouta has been a major focus of the Syrian military because of its proximity to Damascus, which has allowed them both to launch strikes against the capital and at times infiltrate districts with small numbers of fighters to cause chaos. Roughly 90% of Ghouta is now under military control. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Board of Supervisors of Orange County, the third largest county in California, voted unanimously to join a federal lawsuit against the state's sanctuary laws aimed at protecting undocumented immigrants. Orange County will now join a lawsuit filed by Attorney General Jeff Sessions that argues that California's SB 54, which restricts local law enforcement agencies from cooperating with Immigration and Customs Enforcement in matters related to undocumented immigrants, is unconstitutional. Supervisor Lisa Bartlett said her vote to join the federal lawsuit was to give the county more control over undocumented immigrants with criminal backgrounds. Bartlett said in a statement, Senate Bill 54 prohibits state and local police agencies from notifying federal officials before immigrants in their custody who may be subject to deportation are released. I took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, not the unconstitutional actions of the state of California. The 4-0 vote from the Republican-controlled Orange County Board of Supervisors follows actions by other Orange County leaders to resist SB 54. Earlier this month, the City Council of Los Alamitos voted to opt out of the law, and this week, Orange County Sheriff Sandra Hutchins decided to put the release dates of county jail inmates online to the public, which allows ICE officials to get that information without having to go directly through local law enforcement. The board's vote on Tuesday was heavily criticized by immigrant advocates. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the Journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports Supreme Court justices on Wednesday appeared conflicted over what to do, if anything, to rein in politicians who draw state electoral maps with the aim of entrenching their party in power in a closely watched case from Maryland over the practice known as partisan gerrymandering. The 9 justices heard an hour-long argument and a challenge by Republican voters to a U.S. House of Representatives district in Maryland that was reconfigured by Democratic state legislators in a way that helped Democrats defeat an incumbent Republican congressman. There appeared little dispute among the justices that the Maryland district lines were drawn in a partisan intent. But based on questions they asked, the justices seemed no closer to answering the major question in the case and a similar one involving Wisconsin, whether courts should be able to intervene to curb the manipulation of electoral district boundaries purely to favor one party over another. On October 3rd, the court, which has a 5-4 conservative majority, seemed similarly torn when it heard challenges by Democratic voters to Republican-drawn legislative districts statewide in Wisconsin and has not yet issued a ruling in that case. The rulings in the 2 cases, due by the end of June, could alter the U.S. political landscape either by imposing limits on partisan gerrymandering or by allowing it even in the most extreme forms. Opponents have said partisan gerrymandering has begun to warp America's democracy by muffling large segments of the electorate. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
Here is the Onion Weekend Review Transportation Edition. In Albany, a Greyhound bus crash claimed 30 miserable lives Tuesday, finally putting over 24 deadbeat fathers, penniless drug addicts, and hapless bastards out of their misery. Emergency crews at the scene of the merciful accident described the sea of fast food bags, candy bar wrappers, and losing lottery tickets surrounding the crash site as utterly tragic, adding that the scorched corpses inside the bus were, quote, only slightly more lifeless than before the deadly accident.
Evidence suggests that most of the victims suffered during the crash, and for many years before they even boarded the bus. All I can say is, thank God no one made it.
Al-Qaeda is refusing to carry out any further terrorist attacks until the U.S. mass transportation infrastructure is drastically improved, calling the country's roads and bridges a, quote, travesty, unbecoming of a developed first world nation.
We want to turn your bridges into rubble. But if we took credit for making them collapse, no one would ever believe us.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. Kicking off hour number 2 in studio tonight. It's Darryl
and Chris
and Mark.
And let's go to the Discord thing. Yeah, we've got the Discord thing. You can go to discord.lrn.fm, and there's like a on-air call-in line through the Discord. That's where we've got Vinkman calling in. Vinkman, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Gentlemen, good evening. I just wanted to remind everyone we're on the eve of the coercive tax day. Happens next month, April 15th. It's a very sad day for most people. But I wanted to get some,
April.
Yes, it's horrific, and I wanted to get the opinion of the hosts. For the longest time, I've believed that taxation is theft, but I started thinking to myself,
sir.
Well, here's my question: is it robbery? Is taxation robbery? Or is taxation theft?
So extortion, but they're both robbery and extortion are types of theft.
And as Bastiat would say, it's legal plunder. So it doesn't matter whether it's theft, extortion, robbery, a shanking in the back alley. It's legal plunder.
If it were you or I, it would be a crime.
Right.
Yes.
But when they do it, it's okay.
It's extortion under the color of law, if you wish to have the best definition I can come up with.
Legal plunder.
I like that one. I like legal plunder, too, because it's Bastiat. But
yes.
I guess I just feel like if I'm giving it over based on coercion, right, I am kind of handing it to them.
Sure.
So they didn't really take it.
All right.
I mean,
so
but there is still some voluntary handing off, right?
If you're in Central Park and a mugger points a gun at your face and says, "Hand me your wallet," and then you reach back to hand him the wallet so that you don't get shot in the face, you still handed over the wallet. That doesn't mean that you weren't mugged.
Right. Or that you weren't extorted or threatened.
It's not burglary. And I can tell you this. In prison, burglars were considered sort of above sex offenders, but pretty much below everybody else. They were cowards because they would break in and steal, and rather than just having the guts to come up and stick their gun in your face. The government has no particular reason to fear any repercussions. Like, the repercussions of stealing from people are, vanishing to zero. So, therefore, they are as bold and brazen as they could possibly be. They're so brazen that the vast majority of the people listening to me believe they have legitimacy in taking things from you. Right. That these people, whom we are just like you and me, the blood beats through their veins just like you and me, there's no difference between them and us, that somehow or another they should be able to work or run a monopoly on violence that demands money on a regular basis from us simply by the fact that we were born here.
I would actually argue the point that there is a huge difference, and the difference is that one group believes in self-ownership and the other doesn't.
Yeah,
and I think that's fundamental.
People they believe in your version of self-ownership, but they think they would think that they believe in self-ownership.
They'll say they do.
Yeah.
Until you start to challenge it. Okay, so you should be able to put anything into your body. Well, I mean, within limits.
Right. I mean, Hobbes said that man's life would be short and brutish and whatever without government.
Right.
We give up a certain amount of our rights to live within a society, and I think that's true. You do give up a certain amount of your rights. The question is, which ones, how many, and what is the right of the people that run the government? And the only way we can find that out is through competition. And and governments don't allow competition. Try to start a government if you want to find out.
Right. And the New Hampshire Constitution even says that when men enter into society, they surrender some of their rights.
Certain rights.
In exchange for protection. Absent the protection, the surrender of rights is void. We know there have been numerous federal court cases saying that there is no obligation for any government to protect you, which leads me to believe that whatever rights I've supposedly surrendered is void because there's no obligation for them to protect me.
Right. Follow it through to its logical conclusion. And that's the challenge in working with people that are either hard to the left or hard to the right or wherever they are. It's just conveying that self-ownership that you have this right. And if you've surrendered rights, then you expect something for them. What does the government provide? Does it provide true representative government for your tax dollars?
They provide drone bombs to people in Yemen, Syria, Somalia, Libya, Afghanistan, Iraq.
Right.
I'm probably forgetting a couple of countries that have been droned by the U.S. military.
Just drop the drone part, call it bombs and guns and everything else, and it's worldwide. But yeah, what's your recourse? That's the question. You can defy them. You can not pay your taxes, and you do so at your own peril. The
First Amendment says that you have the right to petition for redress of grievance, but the Supreme Court 13 years ago said that there's no obligation for any government agency to respond to your petition for redress.
You can petition.
Yeah, till you're blue in the face.
You have the right to petition, but we are not required to answer you.
Yeah, I would also ask, where's the, you mentioned joining a society in exchange for XYZ. Can you provide the evidence where I joined?
Right, that would be, it's a great question. At this point, like maybe you could have said when the Constitution was ratified in 1789, that one could choose to go live in the wilderness. But at this point, basically, if you do choose to live in the wilderness, you're either living on someone's land or you're living on government land, which means that you are not in society. This is within the confines of the United States.
Right, but hold on. If I'm living on government land and the claim is that I am part owner of that land, aren't I really just living on my own land?
Nice try.
Well, you could tell that to the forest ranger as they come and kick your shed in and drag you out in cuffs in the back of their four-wheeler.
And it's going to be the same thing.
My four-wheeler.
If you're on private land, come live on my land. It's mine, free and clear.
Right. So there is no entering into society because you were born here. You could be in the exact spot you were born, and they would still try to tell you what to do. And the vast majority of people that would say you consented would say it's fine that they told you what to do, even though you're standing on the exact, square foot, so square meter in which you were born, you still consented. The consent is this fantasy.
Well, there are four different types of consent, but really only three that individuals can give. There's implied consent, meaning, you exist in the United States, so that is your consent, your implied consent. But
I retract that consent right now. Verbally retract that consent right now.
As do I. Yep.
There's informed consent, meaning that you enter into something knowingly of what is happening, and then there's expressed consent, which is similar to informed, but it's also more of a, yes, I enter into... Not just I read the
Those are the people
contract.
that are naturalized citizens that take the exam.
Right.
Yes.
But here we got two people that have, informally at least renounced. We got Venkman and you, Mark, have said you're no longer...
Oh, I sent a letter of independence back in like the mid-'90s and never got a response declaring that my person is the Free State of Darryl.
Who do you send it to?
The White House.
Okay.
Good for you. But I'm starting my own government, and I could use some citizens. So if you guys don't mind paying me, a small amount of taxes, I'll tell you exactly what rights I will keep from you.
Hold on. So do I get a passport from the Free State of Chris?
Yeah.
Yeah, but how many countries is it good in?
Well, we're working on that.
Okay. Well, first off, since
the Free State of Darryl recognizes the Free State of Chris.
No, this isn't. So the Free State of Chris doesn't sound free at all.
Hold on. So
it's not going to be free.
Well,
I mean,
we already have.
But I'm the intergalactic king of everything, and you stinking vassals should shut your traps.
Hey, parting question for the group.
Please.
Is there a single U.S. constitutional amendment besides quartering of soldiers that has been defecated upon?
No.
And I'm not convinced we haven't quartered soldiers.
As a matter of fact, I think that...
Boston and quartering soldiers, for
sure.
Yeah, I think there was a case in the last 2 decades in Puerto Rico where government officials were put up in a church or something.
Oh, there was probably even something during Hurricane Katrina where some government entity somewhere said, you've got to house these National Guard people that came in from California.
I'm Googling it right now. It was more recent than that. There was a case.
Chris is Googling. Venkman, thank you for the call. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. The Bitcoin.com wallet supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. Download the Bitcoin.com wallet for easy and secure access to your Bitcoin Core and your Bitcoin Cash. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Get ready for Easter right now at Kohl's and take an extra 20% off with promo code EASTER. With an extra 20% off, girls' Carter's dresses are just $17.60. Van Heusen dress shirts are $27.99. Elsie Lauren Conrad dresses are also just $27.99. And Samsonite carry-on luggage is $103.99. Plus, you'll get Kohl's Cash right now at Kohl's. Select styles. Offers valid March 29th through 31st. Some exclusions apply. See store or kohls.com for details.
I'm Ryan Burke. I'm the head cider maker at Angry Orchard, and we're in Brittany, France. I wanted to make Angry Orchard rosé cider out of my love for rosé wine. We came here and found these red-fleshed apples. It's a really rare fruit. The apple brings a right, refreshing, natural taste to the cider and a deep, nice pink rosé hue. Our rosé is a little bit less sweet. It's got a really nice balance for any occasion. It's a really refreshing drink.
Angry Orchard Cider Company, Walden, New York. Drink responsibly.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. Did you know you can watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cams at cam.freetalklive.com? Plus, you can chat with other listeners while you watch, all totally free. Now that our live video stream is hosted by YouTube, our video archives will be online even faster, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We had a question in the last segment where a caller asked, aside from possibly the quartering of soldiers, is there any part of the Constitution that has not been violated? Chris, you have some info on that we'll get into in just a moment. But I've got a question for you, dear listener. Do you have a closet full of plain, boring T-shirts? Do you wish that you had some T-shirts that were clever and witty, but you're a broke libertarian and you only have $6 and you refuse to buy something from somebody that's not a libertarian? Well, I've got good news for you. $6
Problem solved,
shirts.
Mamma Jamma.
$6 shirts has a gigantic selection of witty and clever T-shirts that will make you possibly the most exciting person in your boring social group, all for as low as $6. If you are watching the webcam at twitch.lrn.fm, you will see a Bitcoin T-shirt from $6 shirts.
And Chris keeps on moving it up so that we can't see it.
And all of the shirts are sold by someone like you, a listener of Free Talk Live. $6shirts.com. Yeah, they sell Bitcoin T-shirts and they accept Bitcoin. And if you use code FTL, you get 10% off of your entire order. And maybe you only want to spend $4 for a T-shirt. Well, they do have a daily special. It's called Tea Time. $4 specials. You do need to sign up for their email list to get those specials. But, you know, they're really good shirts. And again, you can use Bitcoin. $6shirts.com. Use code FTL to save 10%.
Yeah, so the question came up from Venkman's call about whether the Third Amendment had ever been challenged. I mean, it's one thing you don't really hear is quartering of troops in civilian homes, which the Third Amendment protects us against. And I'm going to pull up the text of the...
Is intended to protect you against.
Yes. The text of the Third Amendment reads, no quarters shall in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner prescribed by law.
See, that's where they get you. Because, see, there's always...
Turns out we can say whatever the hell we want, and it'll be okay.
Well, there's always some kind of emergency.
Sure.
And all of the laws wind up getting suspended when there's a national emergency.
Yeah. So we have a case out of Nevada, which is pretty interesting. This is a Fox News article going back to 2013 when this was first reported. A Nevada family is using a rare legal argument in a lawsuit claiming police tried to commandeer their homes for a surveillance operation and then arrested the homeowners for resisting, invoking the Third Amendment, which bars soldiers from being, quote, quartered, unquote, in a residence without permission.
Seems pretty clear to me that if they, okay, so first off, there's this, the Third Amendment is no amendment at all because it says they can't do anything, the government can't do this thing unless the government says that the government can do this thing.
Correct.
Right. So what it really does is it's a limitation not on the state but on the executive. So it's saying that the president or one of his appointees, meaning generals, colonels, lieutenant colonels, majors, whomever, cannot decide that soldiers would be billeted in a house on their own. Now, if Congress says it's okay in a given geographic area or wherever, then it's just fine.
Right.
But,
Correct. It's kind of like the balanced budget proposals of you have to have a balanced budget unless 2/3 of you agree that you don't have to have a balanced budget.
Right.
Or you say that we need to not have a balanced budget because this long list of loopholes.
Correct.
Right.
The Mitchell family, in a lawsuit filed July 1st, and that would have been in 2013, detailed the incident from July 10th, 2011. According to the complaint, it all began when the Henderson City Police called Anthony Mitchell that morning to say they needed his house to gain, quote, tactical advantage, unquote, in a domestic violence investigation in the neighborhood. The situation turned ugly when Mitchell refused repeated requests to leave, and police smashed through the door, the 18-page complaint states. Mitchell alleges the police, upon entering his home, forced him to the floor at gunpoint, then shot him and his cowering dog with a few rounds of pepper spray pellets. Police then allegedly handcuffed and arrested Mitchell in connection with, quote, obstructing a police officer, unquote, before occupying his home.
I love how they say police allegedly arrested the guy. Either they arrested the guy or they didn't arrest the guy.
Yeah, that's bad journalism.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the alleged, that's, this person allegedly robbed a bank. Well, they've not been convicted yet, so
Right.
it is alleged that they robbed the bank.
Correct.
The guy was either arrested or not.
Right. Well, so the victim can make allegations, and then it would be what the police did was alleged, unless the reporter can prove that it was the case.
That's true, and sometimes people will say, I don't care what you say it, call me detained, call me whatever you want, but you arrested me.
Right.
So, okay.
By the way, I was stopped on Interstate 10 in West Texas. And
out in the West Texas town of El Paso?
It was, I think it was a little east of El Paso. And the border guards would not claim to be detaining me.
Right.
They wouldn't claim that I was arrested, but they were telling me I couldn't leave. So there's apparently some lesser form of detention than detention, which is a lesser form of arrest. I don't even know.
Interdetainment. Sort of like entertainment, but with being detained. I don't know.
You've got to tell us where you're from with a Latin accent.
¿Por qué?
It doesn't end at Anthony Mitchell's house in suburban Las Vegas, the complaint continues. That same day, the officers also took over the home of Mitchell's parents, Linda and Michael Mitchell, who live in the same neighborhood and are named as plaintiffs. The police department declined Monday to comment on the case when reached by FoxNews.com, leaving the matter to the court should it go to trial. However, the more compelling questions appear to focus on whether the Third Amendment strategy can work, considering the courts would have to consider the police officers as soldiers. The amendment states, no soldier in time of peace be quartered in any house without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law.
To be clear, police did not exist in 1789 when this amendment was written.
Correct.
And these people and soldiers functioned like police at the time in the colonies. At the time, the people that would be concerned about this would have chosen to do it. So it's a very fair application, to my mind, of the Third Amendment. These judges should have their heads lopped off on the Henderson County lawn, on the courts over which they provided.
The statements by Mark Edge about executing people is not necessarily the beliefs held by all hosts of Free Talk Live. I oppose the capital punishment against anyone.
Oh, I oppose it against anyone who doesn't work in a higher form of government position.
I think
you can't you can't get rid of the rats without killing the rats, Darryl.
I just think
you can't cuddle the rats out of the feed barn.
I think that white collar criminals and all politicians are white collar criminals. They should be forced to flip burgers at McDonald's for minimum wage for the rest of their life. Don't put them in prison where somebody else pays to feed and clothe and house them.
Okay, Darryl. We'll get back with Darryl, Chris, and Melanie after this message.
Your calls and thoughts, 855-450-FREE.
Fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. I'm talking thick, meaty, center-cut presidential bacon. Savory and delicious. I buy some, I use some, I store some. Awesome. No refrigeration needed with a 10-year shelf life. NASA-packed technology. Bacon. Fully cooked, fully hydrated, ready to eat right from the packed bacon or warm and served. Life-saving, ready-to-eat bacon. 10-year shelf life bacon. Ships free at fullycookedbacon.com. Fullycookedbacon.com.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. I'm here to tell you about GCNtelecare.com, a team of board-certified doctors assisting you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Within 15 minutes of registration, care your family can afford. Revolutionizing the healthcare industry, virtual consulting providing diagnosis of non-emergency medical issues by phone or secure video on computer or smart mobile devices. GCNtelecare.com, virtual care anywhere.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way. You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, hey, who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait
now.
Wait a minute.
Whoa! Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. Ross Ulbricht was convicted in early 2015 of running the infamous Silk Road Underground Market. The Silk Road was a gift to humanity and helped reduce the harms brought on by drug prohibition. For this good deed, Ross has been sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole. Now, an appeal is Ross's only chance, and he needs your support. Please visit freeross.org, where you can contribute via various methods, including Bitcoin. Visit freeross.org. That's freeross.org. Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Free Press Publications is an independent, alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary on the website fpp.cc, as well as a daily 5-minute newscast, FPP Radio News, and weekly news, views, and commentary in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com, and the monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl,
Chris,
and Mark.
And we'll get back into the discussion here about the Third Amendment violations. Yeah, that's right. There are Third Amendment violations by the United States federal government. But I want to, and we mentioned this last segment about the webcams, want to remind you that we do have webcams, and you can watch them on the Twitch. Head over to twitch.lrn.fm. There's a chat room. And if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, you get one Twitch Prime thing that you can wind up giving to a channel of your choice each month. And, we would appreciate it if you wind up giving us your Twitch Prime. I don't know exactly
subscription,
what exactly the thing is, but I do know that it's something that you have to intentionally renew each month.
Yep,
on your Twitch Prime thing.
It's a subscription, and if you go into Twitch, you can choose to subscribe to any channel, and we'd love it if it were this one.
Yes, twitch.lrn.fm. Chris, you've got more of this story?
Well, a little bit more. So we gave you sort of the basics of this case with the Mitchells, where the police were trying to investigate a domestic violence case. They broke into the Mitchells' home in Henderson, Nevada. They basically pepper sprayed and arrested, according to the lawsuit, Mr. Mitchell, and his parents also lived in the same neighborhood. The Mitchells claimed that this was a violation of the Third Amendment, in that the police were acting as soldiers and that their home should be protected. And that happened in 2011. The lawsuit was brought in 2013, and in 2015, that's when this was decided by a federal judge, ruling that municipal police can never be considered soldiers. Is anybody shocked here?
Well, I'm not surprised the judge supported the judiciary. They do that all the time. It's pretty obvious the collusion exists when police officers can carry guns into courts and no one else can.
Right.
It's pretty clear that the executive branch gets some kind of deference from the judicial branch. But I would point out that the mayor of New York City, several mayors of New York City, have claimed that they are that they lead or have the third largest army in the world, which would be true if you would call their police officers soldiers.
Right.
And functionally, what's the difference? Somebody who wears body armor, carries a gun, follows the rules of the executive.
Yep.
Okay.
More to the point, when going on certain activities, they will have rules of engagement. They will have, military. We train
military outposts. The New York Police Department has an outpost in Israel.
Yeah. I find this amazing to believe. But as reported by the Washington Post on March 23rd, a federal judge dismissed a claim brought by a Nevada man claiming that police violated the Third Amendment in, quote, forcibly occupying his home in order to gain a, quote, tactical advantage against suspected criminals in a neighboring house. In the opinion, Judge Andrew Gordon wrote that there were two relevant questions in the case of Anthony Mitchell versus City of Henderson. First, whether municipal police should be considered soldiers, and second, whether the time they spent in the house should be considered quartering. Gordon ruled that the answer to both questions was no, well, mostly. The judge found that the police officers who took over Mitchell's home were not soldiers, and that the Third Amendment was written to protect individuals from military intrusion into a private home. And I think this is where Mark's point before our break was pertinent. The police function was previously performed by soldiers prior to the creation of the United States.
Right.
And that was one of the issues. That's why we had that amendment. You had soldiers running around, British soldiers, attempting to enforce the law.
Yes.
And you can see examples of this in the pre-revolutionary days left and right.
And let's not forget that in reality, there's I think it's University of Kentucky has this paper out, is that basically police were created in this country to give jobs to the slave catchers who didn't have jobs anymore when slavery was abolished.
Right. That's interesting.
Let's go to the Discord call-in line where we've got Otis calling in. Otis, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, how we doing, everybody?
Doing well. What's on your mind, Otis?
Not too much. I just wanted to call. I can't, the camera's not moving around on Twitch. Usually it's, shows everybody, so I can only see one guy. I just
because Darryl hasn't pushed the Windows P button.
See, I thought it was on the other camera, so yeah, I'll go ahead and change that.
That's okay.
There we go.
You are blessed with the best-looking host on Free Talk Live.
There we go.
So.
It's on the wide angle. Go ahead, Otis.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So, hey, it looks like Mark is back. Good to have you back, Mark.
Thank you.
I just want to say now that Ian's not here, he was a real jerk the other day, and I appreciate you standing up for him and kind of sticking up for people.
Ian's a jerk almost every day.
So for people that weren't listening on whatever day, can somebody fill in how Ian was being a jerk?
Come on,
I have no idea. That's why I was saying that he's a jerk almost every day.
Otis?
I could straighten it out. Yeah, this guy was out of his mind that day. He was talking something about, he didn't like that Mark said something about, that people need to step up, and Mark was kind of wanted people to be doing better, for the cause. And Ian was like, oh, you don't know these people. You don't know what's going on. You're going to move to your own island. And he was flipping out, getting angry, pointing his fingers, back flipping on the stage. It was out of control. And Mark kind of got a little upset, but not too upset, and reasonably, okay? So, I really appreciated that Mark was standing up to that guy, because he's always a jerk on the air. It's just out of control.
Thank you for the support, Otis. I can tell you this, is that Ian and I are paid to argue with each other, and it's a little bit of a wrestling match, and I mean WWE wrestling. I don't mean Greco-Roman wrestling here. So, don't take it too serious.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I'm Team Mark. That's all I can say. I'm Team Mark. It's that simple.
Otis, are you going to make those T-shirts up, Team Mark?
I could make the shirts. Don't even worry about it. Oh, by the way, Mark, my grandmother finally figured out how to change her password. So,
oh, you're the guy that called in with all the passwords a couple nights ago.
Yeah, we straightened that out. She's got 2 dogs, so now she's using the other dog's name. I'm not going to say the dog's name.
Don't let people know how many dogs she has, because if somebody knows the dogs, Otis, thank you for the call. If somebody knows who the dogs are, then they might wind up knowing what the dogs' names are, and that's just not
you
good
pretty much
ideas.
have to add a number or something. Don't use 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't use password.
Yeah. That's always a bad idea. Don't use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember Spaceballs? Or you might have been in jail when that came out, Mark.
I've seen Spaceballs many times.
Where the guy, what's the code for the airlock? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That sounds like the code some idiot would have on his luggage. And then the general guy, I need to go change the code on my luggage.
Yes.
All right. Now that we've had our Spaceballs trivia for the evening.
Remember when you could have codes on your luggage, Chris?
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah, if you have clothes on your luggage now, the TSA is just going to break it.
Yeah. But I don't know. I've never really thought much about. You know what I have done? I've got to say this. Only since 9/11 have I made sure I carry a knife on every flight.
Why? Because you like giving the TSA knives?
No, because it was obvious early on that the whole thing was a farce. And it was a
security theater
overreaction. And that's like one of those times when you're completely disarmed, should you allow them to do that. So I have, and I don't know if it's on my, I'll bet it is. I have a really old, it looks like a carbiner, a carbiner that you would clip onto something, but it has a knife blade in it. And I clipped that onto my backpack, and I've probably flown 100,000 miles with that thing in it. Yeah, the other thing I know they've
got pen knives too that have little, have a blade instead of a pen. You just take the top off and there's a blade.
Yeah, I never tried one of those, but I've also carried a Swiss Army knife. Just one of these little 2-inch Swiss Army knives.
Yeah.
If you lay it down in your luggage, sort of like on edge, so when they X-ray it, they just see the side of it. I've never had it picked up, so that's what I got to say. That's my confession.
We are not giving travel advice or legal advice, but we will answer your calls. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Get ready for Easter right now at Kohl's and take an extra 20% off with promo code EASTER. With an extra 20% off, girls' Carter's dresses are just $17.60. Van Heusen dress shirts are $27.99. Elsie Lauren Conrad dresses are also just $27.99. And Samsonite carry-on luggage is $103.99. Plus, you'll get Kohl's Cash right now at Kohl's. Select styles. Offers valid March 29th through 31st. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Core wallet that allows you to send and receive either currency with anyone, anywhere in the world. Download the Bitcoin.com wallet for easy and secure access to your Bitcoin Cash. It's perfect for beginners, and the Bitcoin.com wallet makes using and holding Bitcoins easy. No logins are required. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available for Android, iOS, Windows, Mac, and even Linux. Learn more at Bitcoin.com.
The answer to being in control of your own healthcare is freedom from insurance. Become part of a group of self-pay patients that come together to share in each other's medical expenses. Individual share amounts begin at $107 a month and $347 for families. Choose from 3 health-sharing programs. Holistic treatments may be eligible for sharing. See guidelines. Discount programs available for dental, vision, and pharmacy. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.
Frustrated trying to get business capital? Want to take the slow process and rejection out of the equation? GCNloans.com removes the slow, irritating approval process. Instead, get quick, simple funding. Powered by David Allen Capital, 80% of our pre-qualified clients are approved in days. Pre-qualify at GCNloans.com and get your money this week. It's that easy. GCNloans.com. That's GCNloans.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And Mark.
And we'll get back into the Third Amendment violations here in just a moment. But first, I want to make sure that I tell you about a news website that you can go to find out all kinds of news about cryptocurrency related things. One of the stories that were published on news.bitcoin.com yesterday, new study, 80% of ICOs are outright scams and only 8% ever reach an exchange, which means that 92% never reach an exchange. And of the ones that reach an exchange, well, there's probably a lot that never actually do what they say they're going to do. So if you see an ICO, buyer beware. And you can find out all kinds of other interesting stories about cryptocurrencies, including Venezuela's supposed ICO for their cryptocurrency thing, where, yeah, they've still not actually sold anything, despite Maduro claiming billions of dollars coming in.
Right.
News.bitcoin.com.
Yeah, and we're going back to this story. This comes to us from the New American, and we were looking for a response to that lawsuit of Anthony Mitchell versus the city of Henderson, where Mr. Mitchell alleged that police breaking into his home because they wanted to conduct a surveillance and get a tactical advantage on another crime that was going on next door to him violated his Third Amendment rights. And as we announced prior to the commercial messages, that the judge found that there are two relevant questions in this case. First, whether municipal police should be considered soldiers, and second, whether the time they spent in the house should be considered quartering. Gordon ruled that the answer to both questions was no. Well, mostly. The judge found that the police officers who took over Mitchell's homes were not soldiers, and that the Third Amendment was written to protect individuals from, quote, military intrusion into a private home. And we sort of debated that, and at least I think I can speak for us here in saying that when an officer of the state enters your home without your permission and seeks to make himself at home, that seems to be like he's acting like a soldier, not as just police.
Correct.
And in light of his denial of the claim that the police qualified as soldiers, Gordon didn't answer the second relevant question, simply writing that he suspects that the time spent by the police occupying Mitchell's home would not qualify as quartering. While Gordon may be correct in this ruling, his language is so broad that it may actually set a dangerous precedent. As Ilya Soman explained in the Washington Post, quote, the reasoning is very plausible and quite possibly correct, but it is too readily concluded that, quote, municipal police, unquote, may never be considered soldiers for the purpose of the amendment. That's insane. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just to say that, okay, all police are never soldiers. It's sort of like, it's like a thought experiment. You know, if some soldiers are police and all police are soldiers, then some soldiers must be police.
I recall that the Vietnam War was called a police action.
No, that was Korea.
Oh, that's a police action? Sorry.
No, Vietnam was, there was another euphemism. They used another euphemism for the war and killing there.
I see.
I can't remember what it was.
If the soldiers can do policing, can not the policing then do soldiering? Police do soldiering?
Yeah.
One would think, and on this quartering definition thing, to where they're saying that it was not quartering, the first verb definition that has to do with something other than dividing something into 4 equal parts,
a pedantic check, go ahead,
is to be stationed or lodged in a specified place.
That's pretty broad.
If you are stationing yourself in someone's house, you are using their house as quarters.
Right. Absolutely agree. And I'll tell you, anybody who's interested in reading more about this particular case and hundreds of other cases of why we've gotten to where we've gotten, primarily because of the war on drugs, I highly recommend Radley Balco's Rise of the Warrior Cop. It's a superb book. It's one of those that you should read, and then you should give it a month and read it again. And he points out a number of cases where violation of the Constitution is not only an everyday thing, your rights being violated, but how we can trace this back primarily to the war on drugs. And it's a superb book. I can't recommend it enough.
Yep. You recommend it, about every 3 or 4 weeks?
A ballpark, I would say. This is one of those shows where that book just seems to be kind of pertinent.
Yes.
I just shared a related Radley Balco post on the Free Talk Live's Facebook page. You can find it at facebook.freetalklive.com.
Nice.
If you are a user of Facebook, please like the page and check out some of the stuff that we post there and share it and like it and do all those other things.
Yeah.
If you're not a Facebook user, please don't go anywhere near that website.
But we are on Twitter.
Don't go near that either.
No, go to our Weeme site.
Right. Forget that.
I don't want to know about your wee-wee.
Go to discord.freetalklive.com and join the chat.
You could do that. Lots of people do. There's an article that I think Radley Balco wrote a few years ago where he talks about some of the weird language that winds up getting used when police do things.
Yeah.
So when cops shoot somebody, it's no longer reported in the media as cops shot a man. It's there was an officer-involved shooting.
Sure.
The officer discharged his weapon.
Right.
The suspect was hit with a bullet.
Right. Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
The cop shot somebody.
Right. If it's the other way around, it's alleged cop killer.
Right.
So yeah, that's just one example.
Yeah,
of
they
how
do all of these
go.
weird, language tricks to make it sound as though the cops aren't actually doing what the cops are doing.
Yep.
The cop did something, and something totally unrelated happened.
This story continues. For some background and context, the Third Amendment reads, and we've covered this: a soldier shall, in time of peace, be quartered in any house, shall not, without the consent of the owner, nor in time of war, but in a manner to be prescribed by law. The tale told by Anthony Mitchell of how he and his family were robbed of those rights is compelling and cautionary. Mitchell was sitting at home in Henderson, Nevada on the morning of July 10th, 2011, when the phone rang. Officer Christopher Worley of the Henderson Police Department was calling Mitchell to tell him that the police were going to take over his house in order to gain, quote, tactical advantage, unquote, over Mitchell's next-door neighbor. Officer Worley reportedly explained police were going to set up shop in Mitchell's house. Mitchell was not asked if he would mind such a surrender of his home. The officer was informing Mitchell that they would be commandeering his house. In his legal complaint against the Henderson police, Mitchell claims that he didn't want to get involved with the police department's operation against his neighbor, and accordingly refused to let police occupy his home.
I will further point out that when police enter people's homes and they don't know that it's police, and they've been shot or shot at, if the homeowner survives, in the rare and unlikely chance the homeowner survives, they will be charged for shooting at police officers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, meaning that somebody can just come into your they're burglars. Okay, I'm sorry. They don't have any business coming in there. And yes, I guess I get that they may be wearing a uniform, but you can't always see what's going on in the dark.
Right.
Correct.
And I can tell you that even if they yell police, that anybody can yell police. And I was in prison for 8.5 years, and I will verify that that inmates practiced home invasions in front of me and said it's the police.
Yes.
In order to throw off the victim.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's go to the phones real quick, where we've got Johnny calling in from Florida. Johnny, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, it's Johnny Barbado down in Florida. You guys have been a snooze fest here. This is such foreign radio.
Hold on. Speak up. What?
She's falling asleep.
Why are you falling asleep, Johnny?
Because it's so boring. Oh, my God.
What do you want?
You guys are a snooze fest. Listen, I have one topic for you. I want to ask you guys, you've seen the collapse of this fellow, Chris Cantwell. You've seen his collapse the last week or two. Are you worried for him? Are you worried for others? I'm worried for others.
Well, so if you didn't know, Christopher Cantwell was on this show. We were the first to fire him because of his...
I know. That's why I called.
Excellent.
You may have
Great.
picked up on that.
Excellent. Good. I'm just making sure you and, 100,000 other people that are listening know. And secondly, I'm not surprised Christopher Cantwell's using this term federal informant, but what he really means is I'm talking... I really can't hear anything. I'm talking to the police about my case. Like, okay, then everybody's an informant that talks to the police about anything. So I'm not worried for him. I'm certainly not worried for the Antifa people. I'm not worried.
He's a shock jock who's trying to do something that will get him attention.
Please don't make me pick
really good at getting himself attention.
Please
Johnny,
don't make me pick between Antifa and the Nazis.
They're both a-holes and they're both wrong. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
It's about time something new came along for better selling and buying online. And I found it.
What now, Marge?
It's buysellmakeoffer.com.
Never heard of it.
It's a brand new company. That's why you've never heard of it. It's the newest and best way to sell any products online. I did all the research.
Sell my car?
Yes.
Our home?
Yep.
My golf bag?
Your golf clubs. All of them.
How about your purse collection hoard?
Hey, now.
You said any product.
Right. I did. We get 30 days free.
Really?
Packages starting from only $9.95. And buysellmakeoffer.com will never charge item fees ever. Never. And this is cool. Listen to this. You can even use Skype or video to show your items.
That's cool.
Yes. All we have to do is go to the website, sign up, and then load our stuff to sell. I love this site.
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. You got it?
Buysellmakeoffer.com.
Buysellmakeoffer.com. Better selling, better buying.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, March 29th, 2018. Silver is trading at $16.29 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,326 per ounce. Zencash is trading at $17, and the average price of Bitcoin is $7,491. Antiwar.com reports on Tuesday rebels from eastern Ghouta fired mortars into the Syrian capital city of Damascus, killing at least 27 civilians and wounding nearly 60 others. The strike was reported in a single-sentence article in Reuters, quoting a Russian news agency. More details were offered in Iran state-run Press TV. However, they reported indiscriminate mortar and rocket fire against the capital, hitting multiple different sites across the area and causing a number of casualties. Though it was not reported, the fire presumably is coming out of Douma, which is the last rebel-held territory in eastern Ghouta. The Syrian military also reported that the rebels are using human shields to prevent military advances. Eastern Ghouta has been a major focus of the Syrian military because of its proximity to Damascus, which has allowed them both to launch strikes against the capital and at times infiltrate districts with small numbers of fighters to cause chaos. Roughly 90% of Ghouta is now under military control. For over 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. And as a Bitcoin-preferred business, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts Brokerage today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. UPI reports the Board of Supervisors of Orange County, the third largest county in California, voted unanimously to join a federal lawsuit against the state's sanctuary laws aimed at protecting undocumented immigrants. Orange County will now join a lawsuit filed by Attorney General Jeff Sessions that argues that California's SB 54, which restricts local law enforcement agencies from cooperating with Immigration and Customs Enforcement in matters related to undocumented immigrants, is unconstitutional. Supervisor Lisa Bartlett said her vote to join the federal lawsuit was to give the county more control control over undocumented immigrants with criminal backgrounds. Bartlett said in a statement, Senate Bill 54 prohibits state and local police agencies from notifying federal officials before immigrants in their custody who may be subject to deportation are released. I took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, not the unconstitutional actions of the state of California. The 4-0 vote from the Republican-controlled Orange County Board of Supervisors follows actions by other Orange County leaders to resist SB 54. Earlier this month, the City Council of Los Alamitos voted to opt out of the law, and this week, Orange County Sheriff Sandra Hutchins decided to put the release dates of county jail inmates online to the public, which allows ICE officials to get that information without having to go directly through local law enforcement. The board's vote on Tuesday was heavily criticized by immigrant advocates. Born into a devastating world and raised among the crowd, the Cloudwalker assumes a new identity and begins the unrelenting quest for truth. In this epic journey, he discovers dark secrets about aspects of his previous life that he once trusted. Through the journal of the Cloudwalker, he shares both the traumatic hardships and the eternal beauties of his experiences. Dear Society by the Cloudwalker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores. Reuters reports Supreme Court justices on Wednesday appeared conflicted over what to do, if anything, to rein in politicians who draw state electoral maps with the aim of entrenching their party in power in a closely watched case from Maryland over the practice known as partisan gerrymandering. The 9 justices heard an hour-long argument and a challenge by Republican voters to a U.S. House of Representatives district in Maryland that was reconfigured by Democratic state legislators in a way that helped Democrats defeat an incumbent Republican congressman. There appeared little dispute among the justices that the Maryland district lines were drawn in a partisan intent. But based on questions they asked, the justices seemed no closer to answering the major question in the case and a similar one involving Wisconsin, whether courts should be able to intervene to curb the manipulation of electoral district boundaries purely to favor one party over another. On October 3rd, the court, which has a 5-4 conservative majority, seemed similarly torn when it heard challenges by Democratic voters to Republican-drawn legislative districts statewide in Wisconsin and has not yet issued a ruling in that case. The rulings in the 2 cases, due by the end of June, could alter the U.S. political landscape either by imposing limits on partisan gerrymandering or by allowing it even in the most extreme forms. Opponents have said partisan gerrymandering has begun to warp America's democracy by muffling large segments of the electorate. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.
If you're the parent of a man-child, you know how frustrating it can sometimes be. The piercing sound of his video games waking you up at 2 in the morning. His insatiable hunger and inability to cook anything for himself. The messes he makes. The stress can be overwhelming.
Something will set them off, such as their man-child will tell them that they don't know how to tie a tie even though they're almost 30. They'll start shaking them and yelling and saying, "What the hell is wrong with you? Why don't you get a real job instead of working part-time at a board game store?"
The results of shaken man-child syndrome are devastating. Trauma caused by the brain colliding with the inside of the man-child's skull can lead to cognitive disabilities, making it even more unlikely he'll finally marry the girl he's been having a long-distance online relationship with for 6 years. Or it can even lead to death.
He's not spilling cereal all over the couch or leaving his beard clippings in the bathroom sink intentionally. He truly does not know what he's doing.
For the Lab Report, I'm Stuart Adams.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Kicking off our number 3 in studio, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And Mark.
And, you know, since in the last hour we were talking about police behaving badly, specifically police that have decided to quarter themselves in people's homes without their permission, but then the judge says, yeah, it's not actually quartering because they didn't then live there or something. There's an article that I came across a couple days ago about Stephen Clark. Chris, are you familiar with Stephen Clark?
Yes.
Mark, are you familiar with Stephen Clark?
Yes, this is the young man with the cell phone that was gunned down in California.
In his backyard.
Yep.
Yes. Because he did not show his hands to some people that did not identify themselves as police until after he had been shot 15 times.
From around the corner of the house. Have you watched any of the video?
I just got done watching the helicopter video plus some of the body cam video where the Washington Post did a mashup showing the helicopter video, the police video, and the audio.
Right.
And you do see that he jumps over a fence in a backyard before the cops run into his yard and then demand that he show his hands. 1, 2, 3, bang, 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 bang. Police, show your hands. And they're yelling at him even after he has been shot 15 times and already dead.
I got to say that was the most troubling thing for me because they talked about the guy's down, the suspect is not moved. That's what they keep saying to themselves.
Right.
Get up, show us your hands. The suspect is not moved. They let
stop resisting.
5 minutes at least go by before they even thought about trying to render aid and you know, getting shot a number of times. If you're going to survive that, then you better get first aid real quick.
Right.
And they literally stalled. They just stalled until he bled out.
It's unfortunate that there's these preponderance of cases, and sort of none of them's perfect. I always thought the Philando Castile case was the most perfect of the cases because here you have a man who is a licensed, concealed carry permit holder in the state of, what was it, Minnesota?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Minnesota. He was in Minneapolis. And he was... the police officer asked him for his wallet. He reaches into whatever. The police officer's like, "Don't go for your gun," and like shoots him.
Yes.
It was, I have some of the orders of operations wrong, but nonetheless, that's pretty much how it went. This guy was running. This is part I didn't hear. Like it seems to depend from whom you hear the story as to what the facts are.
All right.
And
so
if police are in pursuit, they're going to act like pursuers.
So they're in pursuit of someone.
Okay.
And it appears to be that the person that they were in pursuit of got lost by the helicopter that was tracking.
Correct.
They came back around and they see this guy, and that's who they assume is the perp.
Yes. So I've got an article here titled "Why He Should Have Just Complied Does Not Apply to Stephen Clark."
Okay.
But before I get into it, let's go to the Discord where we've got Vegetarian calling in. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
I think I know why you called in.
Almost got all of it.
Hello. How's it going, gentlemen?
Great.
Thanks. Good. You're on the air. Go ahead with your thought.
I owed Chris a call, so that's why I'm calling in tonight. I stand by my word. It's
nice.
Vaginatarian, too.
Ah, okay. I missed a syllable there. Go ahead with your thought.
So I know this is off topic from the story that you just brought up, but I actually think that the argument that sparked the fury between Mark and Ian the other night with Johnson sort of missed the larger point of sacrifice and how that can make you a better person and might even make you a better activist. So I just sort of wanted to pick your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. Ian's actually listening.
Great. I think that with sacrifice, every single individual becomes a better person no matter what, even if that sacrifice is small. It's the example that Johnson gave with, you take your friend to the movie and maybe somebody else doesn't view that as altruistic or sacrificial, but all of the small sacrifices put together in whole make the society, make the community better, make the person better. So I don't ever see a problem with small sacrifices, just if they don't fall under the definition of activism or they don't fall under the definition of a true sacrifice. Maybe for that person, they actually are a good sacrifice.
Okay. I'm not going to argue with that point. All right.
So I think that the attack went down the wrong road. So I don't disagree that I think both Ian and Mark made good points, but I think the larger issue at hand is what we should really be doing for activism always starts at the individual level, and it's going to be different for every single person.
I think that so one of the things that concerns me about people moving to New Hampshire for more liberty is that they get the impression that liberty is to be had in New Hampshire, or that liberty is possible in New Hampshire. And I would say that neither of these is true, that you're not going to take a statist place and turn it into a non-status place. The Gordian knot was called the Gordian knot for a reason, because it could not be untied.
Right.
I mean, and
so you're saying that there's no place on earth where one can have true freedom.
I would say that the people at free societies have a better roadmap to getting there. It doesn't exist right now. I am trying to work with them as best I can to create something that's possible, but that's going to be some time. So let's say in this magical world where Bitcoin goes to $100,000 per Bitcoin.
All right.
It's been predicted by people who predict things that this could be the case within a year.
Every week.
You will find some people who have a lot of Bitcoins who are now very wealthy. Could those people combine their wealth, purchase a lodial title in some place, let's say some warm place with a deep water port and relatively close to places of population, that would then be able to try an experiment, start from zero rather than starting from whatever number negative number you want to assign to New Hampshire and the United States. Because one thing about moving to New Hampshire is you deal with one of the most rapacious and efficient states that the world has ever known. And that makes it difficult. Like who in their right mind, from a more free place, would move to New Hampshire to get freedom?
Well, people that live in, say, California, New York, that don't want to leave the United
place.
Well,
you're saying New Hampshire's not freer than New York,
right?
No, right. Okay. No, what I'm saying is would you leave Acapulco, Mexico, to come to, as an American who makes money there on the internet, to come to New Hampshire? You'd be out of your mind to do so.
So why should I wind up moving to Acapulco? Or
I could make a better case.
Are you only advocating that only wealthy people can ever have freedom?
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. So the wealthy people would buy the place. Wealthy people can't be wealthy without other people. It's not possible.
Ah, yes, they need minions.
They do.
Serfs.
Isn't that what Roger Ver is trying to do right now?
Yep, that's precisely.
He mentioned the Free Society thing, and
freesociety.org
behind that.
Yep.
Right.
And so the idea is obviously you'll have to have people that are able to come there and work. You can't be wealthy. Hopefully they'll make more than people would elsewhere, so you'll get the best of the best and that sort of thing. And then they can experiment and see if they can create a free society. Whereas it's of my opinion.
So it would be free for the people that have wealth that can hire the minions, but it wouldn't be freedom for the minions.
When do the minions ever get freedom? What do you mean by freedom?
I look at it as a scale, and in this hypothetical still make believe world that's being worked on and being planned.
Yep.
But it's still make believe. It's easier to go from 0 to 10 than to go from -50 to 0 or 0 to 10. So I get that. I don't think that's ever a reason not to try. I think it's a reason for people to try this if they can afford to do it. And I wish them all the best of luck. But I just, in my makeup, my personal makeup, there's no way I can't stop fighting. It's impossible for me.
I think that's what it's about. It's about if you want the conflict against the state, boy, oh boy, is New Hampshire the place for you. You will have backup.
And you'll have a lot of conflict living in California or New York or any other place because governments exist everywhere. This is Free Talk Live, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And I love New Hampshire.
What is it costing you in vet bills for that convenience of just pulling open a bag of
formulated, extruded, processed cereal bits that cost a ton of money anyways?
How do you feed your dog to derive not only energy, but a good coat, bright eyes, and a great attitude?
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
I found his raw meat diet on Dynovite.com. With just the raw meat and the eggs and the Dynovite and the Super Omega on top of it.
Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
Ground beef, white rice, eggs, including the shells, and the Dynovite supplement, and then the Lico Chops.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
It just balances out his body and his mind and his spirit.
Adding Dynovite to their diet has every single dog in my kennel looking better than they have ever looked.
Their skin is so much better now that they're on the raw diet. I don't even give them the kibble anymore.
DINOVITE.com.
What's more profitable, running your business or doing bookkeeping? Doing your business, of course, but you want to keep your books so that you can maximize your tax savings, right? What if I told you that there's a person that's a bookkeeper, accountant, and law school graduate that's also a hardcore libertarian?
My name is Melanie Johnson, and I hate the state. I will aggressively help you to minimize your tax exposure and maximize profits, all while staying within the law.
Melanie's your best choice for your taxes and bookkeeping needs. Go to tax.freetalklive.com and check out our website, tax.freetalklive.com.
Cryptocurrencies are successful because of good technology. The liberty-loving voluntarists who founded Zencash in 2017 took the best tech, like zero-knowledge anonymity and decentralized autonomous organizations, and are creating a secure platform for money, messages, and media that can be sent to anyone, anywhere in the world. Zencash is a cryptocurrency dedicated to peace, anonymity, and decentralization. Find out more at zencash.com. That's zencash.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. In studio, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And Mark.
And Mark is ready to take his MyPillow and go to the boats or the islands or somewhere. And you can get your very own MyPillow. And you can try it risk-free for 60 days. And no, you don't have to renounce your U.S. citizenship and buy St. Kitts citizenship or buy your own private island. You can try this pillow risk-free for 60 days. It's MyPillow. It's designed to fit to the shape of your body, hold your neck in the proper position. I've been using one for a couple of years. You have as well, Mark.
Same time as you, yeah.
Chris, you've had one a couple
Since
years
the 1800s,
longer.
yes.
1800s, I don't believe you there. But you've probably actually thrown yours in a washing machine and a dryer to get off that dirt and dead skin, and that pillow is still usable. Go to MyPillow.com. Use code FTL to get your very own MyPillow at half price, or get a second pillow free of charge. And remember, if for some reason you don't like it in the first 60 days, you get your money back, and the pillow itself is guaranteed to last you 10 years. MyPillow.com. Code FTL. So, Mark, you had more that you wanted to say about your plan to get freedom by buying an island
Well,
or something.
I think he's promoting this as the best plan, the plan that is superior to other plans, and specifically towards political migrations within states that all have some degree of statism, and why we would want to fight the state first and then fight to establish or work to establish a libertarian society.
Mostly what I'm doing is I'm speaking to it's been 12 years that I've been here in New Hampshire. I moved for the Free State Project, as did Ian, back in 2006. Mostly I'm speaking to 2006 Ian and Mark.
All right.
With the words of wisdom that I have up to this point. And I am sorely disappointed in the Free State Project, and Ian would say that's irrelevant, and I think he's got a pretty good point. The Free State Project as an organization is irrelevant.
I tend not to really think about the organization.
Yep, and you shouldn't. But there are people who are making their decision, and they're making it for a whole bunch of different reasons as to why they're going to, do they want to move for freedom? What's that going to look like? And I would only challenge those people with questions. First off, what are you hoping to achieve? And if you want to be more free, then I don't recommend moving to New Hampshire. If you want to be around more liberty activists and to struggle with them to make this state a much more sort of libertarian place, then by God, this is the place for you. It really is. And it's great. My friends are here. When I think about home, New Hampshire is that place. But freedom? I can go other places and be more free than I could in New Hampshire. And the reason isn't because of the New Hampshire state government. It's because of the United States government. So the only solution to that is some kind of pipe dream about secession.
Okay, so let me ask this question.
Yes, sir.
And then we'll go to the phones. 855-450-FREE. If someone does not wish to wind up jumping through all of the legal hoops and hurdles to renounce U.S. citizenship and move to an island and something else, and they're living in California, and they want more freedom than they have in California, do you recommend they just stay in California because the U.S. government exists in New Hampshire as well, or would you suggest that maybe they move to New Hampshire?
Do they like to surf?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, it does matter. You see, because if you like, you need to assess what's right for you in your life. Are your familial relationships important to you? What do those ties look like? What's your job look like? Can you change that job and make more money? Would you take a hit in pay? These kind of things are really important for your move. Your move was the right move for you, Darryl. For me, it was the right move because I followed Ian with Free Talk Live, and I turned it into the business the organization that I wanted to see it turned into. It's been really successful for me, but half of the people, and that's being highly generous, that I have known here in this vicinity, in this part of the state, have left. They've left not because somehow New Hampshire didn't provide for them what they were hoping for.
Because some people have this weird fantasy in their head that New Hampshire's a utopia where the government has already ceased to exist.
That's what I'm trying to solve.
So you're wanting the New Hampshire government to cease to exist by moving to St. Kitts?
Right, and encouraging
I'm trying to
others
solve
not
the problem of the people who think that it doesn't exist, Darryl. Okay,
Well,
that they're moving to a utopia.
That's informing. That's not solving. That's just informing. And
informing is solving the problem
right.
of ignorance.
But I don't know who really here espouses this as a libertarian utopia.
But people continue to move, and they continue to leave. And that must be leaving for a reason.
And there are people online that will say, I'm never moving to New Hampshire until XYZ happens.
Snow stops falling.
Exactly. But the point is
I was thinking more along the lines of cannabis being legalized. I'm just going to move to Colorado where taxes are higher.
But Darryl, why wouldn't they? If cannabis is that important to you, move to Colorado.
Right, which just tells me then liberty isn't that important to you. And that's the question.
Yes.
The question is, and it's a personal question, what are the top three things that are most important to you? If it's family, surfing, and cannabis, then New Hampshire's probably not right for you. But
neither is Colorado.
Good point. But California
would be for that person.
Yeah.
Look, one of Ian's friends who used to call himself a libertarian, we met up with him there, and I wouldn't call him a libertarian now, but he's happy. And being happy is halfway to freedom.
Right.
Right. I will say that being happy is definitely important.
Yep. And it's freedom. It's that's how people define it for their lives. The freedom to do what you want so long as you don't harm someone else means you have to be able to do what you want. And if you want to be on sunny beaches,
right,
you can't do it in New Hampshire.
Right. But if you want to be in sunny beaches with police brutality and everything else, and you're okay with that, face it, some people, they're just okay with, yeah, I know the government sucks, and I know the police are cruel.
I can't smoke on the beach. I can't have a beer on the beach, but there's a beach.
But I'm okay with that.
That's
not
okay.
Freedom. That's a personal choice. And it's just as I love liberty so much that I cannot make everyone else love liberty as much as I'm paraphrasing Milken. But the point is if that's okay with them, that's fine. And frankly, from my point of view, that's not the type of person I'm hoping moves here. I'm hoping people that really care and that are willing to put in some hard work do. We don't all have the means to travel to an island. And Mark, I hope that works out for you. I hope that this whole thing works out.
What are we talking about here? All I've proposed is that the freesocieties.com, their proposal to
love it.
Buy a allodial title of maybe an island, but maybe not. It doesn't have to be. Monaco went about this and purchased a allodial title from France. And so we have a proof of concept. Darryl, sadly, cannot show me a state or a government that ever went from government to freedom, but I can show you one that went from that purchased an allodial title.
Right.
And now they have a king and a government, Mark.
I don't imagine that king has lopped anyone's head off recently.
But they still have a government. And you're not solving the there's no government problem with let's be Monaco. Your calls and thoughts welcome. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Somebody call in to explain to Mark that governments exist in Monaco.
Oh, man.
And everywhere else on the planet. This is Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Would it be okay if you had 2 paychecks instead of 1? I'm pharmacist Keith. Dr. Wallach, the Dead Doctors Don't Lie guy, and myself want to show you how to get an extra paycheck every month, creating an extra income that will last for years to come by joining Dr. Wallach's crusade, spreading his message of better health. To learn more, visit radio.recordedvideo.com. That's radio.recordedvideo.com, radio.recordedvideo.com, or call 866-257-3105 for a recorded message.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We'll get to the phones here in just a moment. In studio tonight, it's Darryl.
And Chris.
And Mark.
And this November, I will be running the world's biggest, most popular marathon, the New York City Marathon. I've accepted a spot on Team Innocence Project because I'm a passionate supporter of their work. Since they were founded in 1992, they've helped 200 people get exonerated. Several of those, actually about 20, had actually served time on death row for crimes they did not commit. And these people have been exonerated because of DNA testing, prosecutorial misconduct, bad witnesses, and just a whole host of other things. And again, 20 of these people had served time on death row. 38 had pled guilty to crimes that they knew they did not commit. With your help, the Innocence Project can help even more people who have been wrongly convicted. As part of Team Innocence Project in the New York City Marathon, I'm raising awareness about wrongful convictions and raising funds to help free the innocent. I've already paid the race registration fee, the lodging, travel, all of that is covered. But what I need to secure my spot on the Innocence Project team in the New York City Marathon is to raise $3,500 by November 1st. I've got some matching funds. About $1,000 of matching funds have not yet been matched. And if you go right now to run.freetalklive.com, you can have your money matched dollar for dollar. Again, need to raise $3,500 by November 1st. And I've had people ask, Darryl, what happens if you don't raise the money by November 1st? Well, I have to cover out of pocket anything
you have to pay it.
different.
Yeah.
And I really don't want to have to pay the difference. So help me raise the funds. Run.freetalklive.com.
You've already got 1,000 raised, so it's a $3,500 goal. I think it's doable.
Yeah.
People...
Again, I had a total of $1,500 in matching. About 500 of that has already been matched. So basically, if I raise another $1,000, I reach my goal.
Right. So if you raise $1,000, basically you've reached the goal.
Yes.
And as long as we can keep informing people about what the Innocence Project is, what they do.
Yes.
And they can see your dedication to now running.
Yes.
Because you went from a chubby guy to
I went from a fat guy.
Yeah, you were pillowy
to
soft.
I was over 300 pounds.
Yeah,
that's fat.
You were in the Sears Toughskins. Husky size.
Yes,
maybe.
Yes, probably larger than that. Run.freetalklive.com. Let's go to the phones. We've got Cordell calling in from Atlanta, watching us on Twitch. Cordell, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Okay, so I actually want to talk about the Innocence Project.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm sure you guys are familiar with 5RP. I've actually been wrongly banned from the community. I actually did nothing wrong whatsoever.
What are we talking about?
What is 5RP?
Well, actually, there's been some recent discoveries that it's a pedophile ring online. It's like it's a text-based video game community. It's really I don't really know how to explain it.
Wait a minute. Have you been banned from a video game group or a pedophile group? Because I'm not sure I would feel bad about the latter.
Well, it was a video game group until I realized it was a pedophile group. All the facts have been uncovered. This guy named Morris used to run the place. He's been exposed. It's pretty crazy.
You know, I don't believe you for a second,
yeah,
right?
I don't believe you, Cordell.
I'm sorry you got banned from that group. It's probably because you're a little douche.
Let's go to Robert calling in from Bellows Falls. Robert, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hi, guys. How are you tonight?
Doing well. What's on your mind?
Great.
All right. I wanted to ask Mark, because I've listened to this show for a long time, and I got a pretty good understanding of how freedom works and stuff like that. I got a really good education in the last 10 years. But how much thought did you guys put into when you guys moved to New Hampshire? How much thought was put? I mean, because if you're unsatisfied, Mark, how come there wasn't a second state that you would have picked to go and do this?
So the Free State Project picked a state, and I have heard Jason Sorens say that basically, yeah, we probably should have done the voting at a different way or a different time or whatever. But he decided to basically take the bottom quarter of the states as far as population goes,
right.
Eliminate Rhode Island because of corruption and Hawaii because it's hopelessly Democrat, and
also not drivable.
Meaning Hawaii's not drivable?
You can't drive to Hawaii from California.
Okay.
That's true.
Please continue.
And he, you might have used that as a reason, but I believe the reason that he stated for me was it was hopelessly Democrat.
I've heard that was one of the reasons, and the distance of people can't just drive there, so it makes it expensive for people to then move.
Okay, let's go back to the voting. Okay.
Yeah. So now we've got that leaves 10 states out of 12, and the vote was made. New Hampshire had a very good team that purported New Hampshire, and I think they made a lot of good points. And as a matter of fact, out of those places, the only ones that I would have any kind of support for would be Delaware and Alaska. There was no support for these states. My vote, if I had voted, and I did not, I signed up just after the vote to see I wanted to wait to see what happened. I understand that my one vote wasn't going to change anything anyway, so I wanted to see what happened. And I would have opted out of everything but Delaware had I signed up, and then I would have had to re-sign up if I wanted to go to New Hampshire. I think New Hampshire is the best choice for states that they could have made. However, I would point out that there are, if we're looking at populations, maybe American Samoa, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and a whole variety of other places that Americans can go without visas and still vote and do all these things. I mean, American Samoa has 60,000 people in it. That's the population of Cheshire County here in Vermont. Excuse me, in New Hampshire. Robert's in Vermont.
Yes, yes, he is.
And so you're going to be a lot more effective if you had moved 5,000 people down there. And that's the claim about the number they claim is in state here in New Hampshire currently. But I think that there's some problems with that too. I'm just making the point that none of this was ever floated. Remember, this was a college thesis by a graduate student. This guy is now in his mid-30s, maybe 40s. I mean, this was an idea.
Right.
And New Hampshire's a pretty good response, but maybe not the best.
It's at least in polls and in studies and things like that, I think it's bore out that if
it's the freest state.
If it is the freest state if you were looking at the 50 states. And I think your point...
But the criteria by which he picked it, was based on it starting with population.
Right.
And it is like many factors larger than the U.S. Virgin Islands and American Samoa.
And I think you're right in bringing up that this was something that a graduate student and put together. And we like Jason. I do.
Yeah,
anyway.
man.
Yeah. But I think it was a really interesting idea and a really interesting experiment. And I don't know if... if it would have been somewhere like Delaware or someplace else, if I would have been that jazzed about it. And I don't know if it would have turned out the same way. I don't know whether it would have excited me. That's all I can say.
Go ahead, Robert.
I know that I lived over in New Hampshire for everybody knows for over 40 years, and I have seen both sides of the coin and how it can work over there. But I can tell you with the Free State Project coming to New Hampshire and the Liberty Movement coming to New Hampshire, it's made a lot of positive changes. But I think that if that Liberty Movement, if it left or if it decreased, the state of New Hampshire would be going right back to the way it was,
Yeah.
And it's corrupt. I don't care what anybody says.
It'd be well on its way to turning into a normal New England state.
Right. So call it Maine, call it Vermont. Yep, that would be true.
And in some ways, Vermont is slightly better than New Hampshire. They've got the recreational cannabis. They've got better ballot access laws for minor political parties. They've got arguably better gun laws.
If I convince somebody to not move to New Hampshire, they probably shouldn't have moved.
855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. This is Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynavite.
Pick up 2 bottles of Super Mega Fish Oil.
Get the 3rd bottle free. Packed with omega-3, DHA, and EPA fatty acids.
Super Mega is great for your dog's immune system, healthy skin, and soft, shiny fur.
Dogs love it. Try Super Omega Fish Oil.
Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Zencash is an end-to-end encrypted system with zero-knowledge technology over which communications, data, or value can be securely transmitted and stored. With over 7,500 secure nodes, Zencash has one of the most distributed node systems of any cryptocurrency. Zencash is a platform for cryptocurrency and communications built by voluntarists for voluntarists, with the ideas of voluntary interaction being written into the white paper no less than half a dozen times. Learn more at Zencash.com. That's Zencash.com.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
A cool guy from middle school is still sporting his fat pair of Jinkos. A stunned St. Peter's Square crowd hears the Pope getting bitched out by God, and an 8th grader caked in makeup is probably really confident. This is The Onion Week in Review. This week, a Pew Research Center poll found that the vast majority of Americans would watch a television show called Love Trap, with most saying that regardless of the show's genre or quality, they would tune in weekly to see its stars stumble into romantic triangles, double-cross one another, and contend with whatever the titular love trap refers to. The survey confirmed that 62% of Americans would likely watch Love Trap to see a shrewd but cold-hearted Southern belle named Tammy. 23% of the nation hoped the show would be referred to as The Trap by its most loyal fans, and 15% of respondents said they simply needed something to watch. And in this week's science news, a biologist completes a 5-minute study of the pathetic organism in his mirror. In other news, a man confidently hits send on the worst job application a company has ever seen.
This is the Onion News Network.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media, and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Possibly time for you and your thoughts if you call in now in the closing moments of the show. In studio, it's Darryl,
Chris,
and Mark.
And let's go to the Skype where we've got Stefan calling in. Stefan, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing well. What's on your mind?
I was actually going to ask, because I actually have the flu right now, and it's like kicking the living crap out of me. I thought I was going
fluids, some yogurt, a banana.
Yeah, all these news stories about like people dropping dead of it have me freaked out, but I'm pretty sure I'll be fine. I know I went in today because I had some problems, and the doctor actually told me, because I was freaked out because I hadn't gotten vaccinated, and the doctor told me, those vaccines don't do anything. And I know this has been like a pretty staunchly debated topic over the past few decades. Are you guys skeptics of the flu vaccine as well, or?
Well, the doctor's telling you the truth.
I will say that I have only ever had one flu vaccine. It's when I worked as hospital security, and they highly recommended that everybody get the flu shot.
Healthcare professionals especially.
And that was the 1 year that I have ever had the flu. The only time I ever had the flu was about a week after I got the flu shot.
Yeah, I can't say causality. I just can't. I don't know that stuff either. I've heard that stuff anecdotally. I don't know if I'm not fearful of vaccines for the sake of being fearful for vaccines. I do like to understand what's gone into it and what the research is. I think the flu shot is a crapshoot because they're trying to identify exactly what the strain of flu is going to be in a given year. 18 months out, exactly.
Right. That's why the doctor says what he says.
Right. So I don't know how effective it's ever going to be.
And it's going to be effective on those strains of the flu.
Correct.
And they may or may not. And by a crapshoot, you mean it's unlikely that they will guess correctly. So that, yes, the flu shot will protect you from those flus. You also need to consider that some people are allergic to the flu shot. And there are now raging, angry people out there that I have said this, but the two sickest times I've ever been, and you're not going to hear me claim that I was sick from the flu because I wasn't. I believe I'm allergic to the flu. The two sickest times I've ever been, allergic to the flu shot, was when I took the flu shot. 102.7 degrees, I recall the temperature. That's enough to begin on brain damage.
Yeah.
I can't prove that didn't happen either. So
I will vouch that it did.
At this point, I do not take the flu shot, and I claim to be allergic to it. Yes, it is non-scientific. Right. And no, I will not change my opinion.
Now, on that 102 fever...
102.7, thanks.
Okay, 102.7 on the FM dial.
Yep.
What is...
Playing the oldies.
What's your regular non-sick
I'm a little
temperature?
hot. So,
okay.
Yeah, I probably run somewhere between, call it 99.3 or something like that.
I generally run about 96.2, and I had a 101.5 fever, which was just, astronomical.
I wonder if that would also cause brain damage because your body's not used to having it that hot, or whether you have to get up to that 102.
Man, y'all are freaking me out because I was sitting at 103 in the hospital when it hit me.
Yeah. You're young, you'll recover.
No, the reason is because, like I said, I have this tendency to dwell on things, and it's like, I don't know if it's because the media is fear-mongering it or something like that, but a couple months ago, we heard all these stories of, like, perfectly healthy young people just dropping dead of it, and I gotta wonder if a lot of it was just kind of fear-mongering, or like how much of it was actually left out, because I'm a little skeptical that perfectly healthy people just drop dead of it.
Well, the flu kills, and just certain strains will absolutely will kill people.
The flu vaccine has mild doses of active things. So
I don't think that's true.
I was told that it does. That way your body's able to actually fight off the
virus is deactivated.
Right.
The virus is deactivated in the flu, and it creates antibodies.
Right. Okay.
And the reason I had asked the doctor about the vaccination, because I wasn't vaccinated, and I said, well, I heard that if you did get the vaccination, it would make it less severe. And he was just all like, who told you that nonsense? He told me that's so ineffective, and I had never heard an actual healthcare professional tell me that it was bogus, but he seemed very adamant that it was bogus. And he told me, just go home, drink your fluids, you're young, you'll be fine, that kind of thing,
Yeah, and just make sure that you don't wind up dehydrating, because dehydrating is absolutely horrible.
Yeah, and if you're worried about dying at your age, you really should be worried about things like automobile accidents, suicide, drug overdoses.
Cops.
Yeah, it's not likely he's going to have to worry about cops, but drug overdoses, and watch out for that spinal meningitis, man.
Well, you've got to worry about cops more than you worry about terrorists.
Yeah, I've already dealt with the meningitis, and that was absolutely horrendous. You don't ever want to get stuck with that, because you'll be in the hospital for long periods of time, and you can't even use the bathroom without somebody bringing the pump with you.
Oh,
it's awful. Yeah, I ended up contracting it a couple months ago, and I had to stay in intensive care for a little over a week. It was absolutely nasty, because what had ended up happening is they found it in my blood culture, and they were like, okay, we're gonna have to do a lumbar puncture on you, because there's two types of meningitis. There's viral and there's bacterial. And viral goes away on its own. Bacterial, you need the antibiotics. I basically threw a fit and said, you are not sticking anything in my spine. If it's going to go away on its own anyway, just give me the antibiotic treatment. And because they didn't want to infect the general public, they just went ahead and gave me the antibiotics. So thankfully, my spine is intact.
Good for you.
Stefan, thank you for the call. Let's go to Lumpy calling in on the Discord. Lumpy, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Hey, Lumpy.
Lumpy, you need to turn down. Yep. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks. I appreciate this topic. I'm somebody, my father moved his business in 1985 up to Nashua, New Hampshire, which is basically now northern Massachusetts, from Boston area, as well as Rhode Island. And he decided after, I think it was 2 years, that it was much more business friendly just to stay and work out of Nashua, where it's easy to access Boston still, and you don't have all the regulations that you have to deal with all the Massachusetts things. The topic tonight, and you guys are talking about. I heard that show. I think I got on. I haven't been able to get on to listen to every show every night, but I remember you and Ian, Mark had gone at it. And it brings me back to this in my mind. There's a difference between sacrificing and investing. And no, we're not going to have things like marijuana freedom and drug freedom and things like that rapidly in New Hampshire. But when it comes, it's going to be a complete pendulum swing the other way, because I moved there in '85. I was 15 years old. Mark, you and I are about the same age, and maybe we can work for that, getting that allodial title up in New Hampshire. This is something I've always thought about. I also thought about the Rockefeller owns a whole bunch of property up around Meredith. And, I don't know if he's got a title, but that might be worth something looking into. And remember, something I want us to keep in mind. I'm working on getting my way back there. I'm in Massachusetts right now, which is, believe me, a miserable place. It is an absolutely miserable place full of people who don't know a bloody thing that's going on in the world, don't care. And sometimes I get that way too. And it's not a productive environment for somebody who likes freedom, enjoys freedom, and enjoys being around other people who like freedom. I went up there and I made a few sacrifices. Yeah, I did a few dumb things and tried to, I got arrested and put in jail. And incidentally, something I wanted to mention for a long time is, Mark, I still have the letters that you sent me while I was doing my civil disobedience and I was in jail.
Yep.
Those were some of the most important letters I've ever had in my life.
Nice.
They got me through so much. It was a very tough time in there, especially seeing what's going on there, and especially seeing that Ian thinks that that warden is such a fantastic guy. I've seen a different side of him. I understand that, there is a difference between sacrifice and investment. I'll never be able to take back or change the mistakes I've made and get those things better and fix those things. But I can work. At least I had my intention, and I think it's important to remember what our intentions are, and what do we want to see New Hampshire look like? Because there is definitely an advantage to having a number of people who simply want freedom to come to one place.
I'd agree.
And and New Hampshire's not perfect, but man, I'll tell you, it is a far cry from Massachusetts.
Lovey, thank you for the call. Unfortunately, we are out of time.
If we could get the Liberty Lovers from Maine, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and New York,
and
upstate
Vermont.
New York, and Vermont to move to New Hampshire, that's all it would take.
Right.
We'll be back tomorrow, but we are always online at freetalklive.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.